So hello and welcome to another episode of the Wiki Weekdays podcast. I'm your host of this episode, Karl Smallwood. Oh yeah, I've got to introduce you, haven't I, Doy?
Yes, you
do. It's been
a
a hot minute since we recorded one of these properly, so I'm joined as ever by my lovely and luscious co-host, Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
If anyone tuning in for the first time, first of all, thank you. You've got great taste in podcasts, and we hope you stick around. This is a podcast where myself and Lucas scour the lengths and breadths of the internet to find a wiki on a subject we're interested in, bring them forward for discussion, and see which one inspires the most interesting, educational, entertaining conversation as a result.
Indeed you do, yeah.
And before we get on to the discussion proper, we do have to shout out our pet of the week. You can see in the video version. Sadly, if you listen to the audio version, just imagine that you're seeing a very cute animal right now. That's what you could be seeing alongside mine and Lucas's goofy faces if you're watching the video version over on YouTube. If you would like to submit a pet of the week, you can join our Discord and our Patreon at any tier, and you'll have the ability to post images there, post a picture of your pet. Fans will vote on it. Any member of the Discord can vote, but only members of the Patreon can submit images for what I hope is obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It's a question we get asked on occasion, right? Of why is posting images something you only let? What was that?
I don't know. Just a crashing noise outside of my window, apparently.
You okay?
Yeah, no, everything's fine. Yeah.
That's not like a pelican has hit the window or something like that. I was mad. Yeah, we get asked why is posting images something that you limit to people who've joined Patreon? It's like, do you not see why we wouldn't want to have an open forum that we invite anyone from the internet to join and give people the ability to post images?
That's
freely?
The thing is, we don't pay any moderators because we don't want to not pay people for their time.
And we can't afford to pay people.
We don't earn enough off this to pay a team of moderators to handle the Discord of getting flooded with images. So this is kind of our way to ask for support and also have the tiniest bit of auto moderation, right?
Yeah, we're very fortunate in the sense that it's me and you running the Discord and the site and the channel, but we have alternating sleep schedules where you're like a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
And I can wake up if I'm pressed. But there is a sweet spot at probably. I'm not going to say when the sweet spot
is. There
isn't
a sweet spot, Karl.
There is a sweet spot when the mods are asleep.
There isn't a sweet spot, Karl. We are always awake 24/7.
Okay, there could be a sweet spot.
There isn't. No sweet spot exists.
There is no sweet spot that exists.
I
okay,
call
and it'll be
Karl when I'm going to bed and say, "Wake up, bitch."
Yeah. When Lucas goes to bed at 6 a.m, that's when I've got to get my ass out of bed, get my coffee, and start my full long day of being a knobhead on the internet. But Lucas, it'll be you going first. So what wiki have you brought forward for discussion this week?
I mean, speaking of being a knobhead on the internet, Karl, this inspired many internet knobheads to come out to the forums.
Okay, this is interesting, because there could be many things that could follow that statement. So what are we talking about?
Well, we are talking about one of the generational defining video games of 2007, and that is BioShock.
I thought you were going to say Halo 3. I was really excited for you to say Halo 3, because there's plenty of knobhead who played Halo 3. I was one of them.
That's the thing. Halo 3 inspired people to be teabagging dickheads online.
Hey, teabagging is mental mind games.
I know, but there's a lot of them that are assholes as well.
Yeah. And as well, teabagging is funny, especially in Halo, where they put the physics on the bodies on the floor so they rise up and down. Yeah. You were telling me that shit's not funny?
I didn't say that, Karl. I didn't say that. I said that a lot of those people are knobheads.
That's true.
But BioShock encouraged people to not be dickheads in game because it's a single-player game. Encourage people to go to every forum, gaming related or not, on the internet and talk about A, BioShock being a very good game, but B, the themes of BioShock.
The themes that they misunderstood, got it?
Probably, yeah.
The amount of weirdo libertarians who BioShock is such a great game, look at how much it encourages and supports our belief system. It's it could be a bigger takedown.
You turn up to just a horror hellscape that was meant to be an underwater utopia.
Yeah. It's similar to Senator Armstrong. Senator Armstrong's not libertarian in the sense that he says I am a libertarian because he actually gets stuff done, but a lot of stuff he says could be interpreted that way.
Mm-hmm.
And people unironically think, yeah, he's right about everything he's talking about, missing the point where he says in his speech in Metal Gear Rising of, I don't write my own speeches.
Right, yeah.
Meaning he doesn't believe a single word he's fucking saying.
And that's the thing is I more want to stick to the idea of the game itself, because
yes,
I don't want to get too into the weeds of what I see as a setting and a plot that is pretty on the nose by today's standards, I think, in video games.
It's one of those early games where games before it had told stories and had themes. Most media has themes, whether intended or not. Because nothing's created in a vacuum. Like the creators' biases, unintentional or not, are always going to seep into the thing they make in some way, shape, or form. As simple, even if the thing is very simple. But it's one of those games that was kind of like a landmark, hallmark moment for gaming as a medium that kind of matured it somewhat.
Yeah, for sure. It was one of the first video games that I can remember that kind of delved into a lot of these kind of like, moral questions and political ideals and things like this, whereas, it's not to say it was the first one, and it did it a lot in kind of like within the gameplay itself through like audio logs and conversations happening while you're walking around and things like that.
Which, again, is not an entirely unique thing. Other games have done it before. Like the Metal Gear series has existed for 2 decades before BioShock came out.
And I do think... Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, so Metal Gear has been delving into political themes and telling a story and having messaging within its gameplay.
BioShock, though, is very on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to storytelling compared to a Kojima, where Kojima wants to make movies inside of their video game and 20, 30-minute cutscenes happen. Whereas
this is a...
BioShock mostly tells it within the story within the setting and within the gameplay and within, I say, audio dialogue while the gameplay is happening. There are certain cutscenes where you get locked into just your fixed camera or you're sat on a chair or whatever. But there's very limited moments where the actual gameplay is taken away from you compared
Which is
to
an advantage
a game like Metal Gear.
Yeah. It's an advantage and a unique aspect of the medium of gaming. I guess that's why it's seen as one of these watershed moments for the medium as a whole. I said it matured it. And it's funny to look back on it when you talk about introduce the idea of moral questions. When you look at it, so binary of will you feed the child into the child crushing machine or not? And that was at the time, having a moral choice in the game was quite unique and quite novel. It existed before, but this is a big game.
Bear in mind, 2007, this is when Mass Effect was just coming out as well.
Yeah, but you had BioWare games before, years prior, you had you had Knights of the Old Republic, where you could choose to be an arsehole in that, but this is a big game that hit the mainstream, that had moral choice in it. But when you look at the moral choice as being, will you murder the child or not? And it's this doesn't really feel that bigger choice.
It feels like an interesting choice until you peel behind the gameplay a little bit.
And you immediately realise that it doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter. The only choice you should ever make in that game is to save every single little sister. Because if you murder them, you get more bonuses and Adam, which is basically XP to give yourself more power. In the short term, you gain more by murdering them and being selfish and choosing to, all the money goes to me kind of vibes.
Yeah. That's the libertarian right there. That's the libertarian choice of hey, these little kids can't defend themselves. Fucking their shit's mine.
Yeah. And I would really enjoy the system more if it was genuinely you become way more powerful by murdering the kids and that's the decision you've got to make. But if you just go for the good ending, by the end of the game, you end up more powerful because they give you bonuses for saving more children. It's it's a non-choice.
And that's what makes it amusing to look back on when you see people talking about the deep themes and the moral implications of the choices that you make. It's the choice between feeding the child to the organ grinder or not.
But I appreciate the idea of feed all of the children into the organ grinder and at least you become stronger, because that's an interesting choice to make.
If they've leaned into that, the aspect there of I've never seen anyone try and justify that choice, but you do get those binary decisions in video games that people still strongly argue for or against. So you mentioned Mass Effect. We've talked in the past about the Geth, where both myself and you, on multiple playthroughs of the Mass Effect series, always side with the Geth, and even in playthroughs where we side against them, just for a change. In discussions of whether or not to save the Geth, we think it's the morally correct choice to save them. So just want to quickly Explain. That's probably a lot of proper nouns there. People like,
Yes.
What is a geth?
So geth are, essentially like robot beings created by, again, the Quarians. So you don't need to know. Just they are a robot species, and then they start to gain sentience and think about themselves, as living beings who they question, do we have a soul? All of that kind of thing come up. And instead of deciding to kind of give the geth a chance, they just immediately try to murder them all because they don't want an uprising to happen, which then causes the uprising to happen.
Classic storytelling device, right? Of like, oh no, by trying to prevent this thing from happening, the thing that we were trying to prevent from happen actually happened as a result of our interference.
And then, the geth drive the Quarians away from their homeworld. They beat them in the battle and constantly just keep dunking on them whenever the Quarians come back to attack. And realistically, the only thing the geth ever did wrong, quote unquote, was
defend themselves.
Is ask if they are sentient beings and then defend themselves.
But I've seen multiple people argue that siding with the Quarians, who want to destroy the geth, is the morally correct choice in their opinion, because the geth aren't quote unquote real. They're robots. I disagree, because I think the geth display sentience,
I don't know how you can...
the aspects of it, like creativity. If they don't have souls, they're the closest approximation of what one would be considered to be.
Yeah, I don't know how you can play through Mass Effect 2, get Legion in your party, have discussions with Legion and have them as a party member, and then not see the geth as being real people.
Yep. But some people do. Some people are wholly unable.
Yeah, they're entirely synthetic, so people just have that mental block of being like, it's okay to murder them all, they're just robots.
They're just robots. They're unable to make that mental leap, which is, that's a perfectly valid opinion. It's why that game series is so interesting. I don't think the moral choice presented in BioShock is one that you could realistically argue, unless you're a selfish arsehole, aka a libertarian.
I think it's interesting with the themes of the game of Andrew Ryan, essentially creating what he ostensibly claims to everyone is going to be a utopia in Rapture. But then when you get there, all of the, people are basically addicted to drugs, have been ruined by this system where the rich get richer. And, I wonder if there's any themes in here. Just, there's a couple of people at the top who have all of the power, including Andrew Ryan, and the entire thing has just fallen completely apart, and you're here to just basically kill everyone.
Yeah, this philosophy just fundamentally falls apart. Remind again, Metal Gear Rising with Senator Armstrong. The people who insist that, well, Armstrong's right in his speech. He's not. He's just he's very persuasive. But if you break down his logic is essentially might makes right. I'm the strongest, so I'm right. To which Raiden's response is, I'm stronger than you. Now what?
Yeah.
If the strongest person who makes decisions...
that I am now in the right because I'm stronger than you then?
Yeah, even though you fundamentally disagree with everything I've said. Similar to when he talks, there's other bosses in the game where they argue hey, you know what? Killing's just part of nature. If someone's weaker than you, and they can't defend themselves, you can take their life if you want. And Ryan's response is, well, I'm stronger than you, so should I kill you? Wait, no, not like that.
Yeah, all they see is Jack the Ripper appears, and they're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Dear God.
And their philosophy immediately falls apart the moment someone takes it and says, okay, but what happens when someone's stronger than you? It's a philosophy that only works in the person's head as long as they're on top.
But again, it's why I think that if they'd committed to murdering children makes you the most powerful being in BioShock, that fits well with the themes of do you want to become the monster?
It does, yes.
But then they didn't have the balls to stick the landing. If you save all the little sisters, you just get care packages at the end of the game where it just makes more sense to always save them all.
Yeah, it does frustrate me that the game didn't lean into its themes mechanically by rewarding you, the player, with appreciable mechanical upgrades to your character and your playstyle by making what most people would view as the wrong moral choice.
It tells you the moment you get the choice to harvest or save the first little sister, hey, if you harvest them, you'll get more. But then that by the end of the game, that's not true anymore, and it's just like, oh, I wish you just. It feels like somebody play tested the game and turned around and went, you can't do that. You can't have the more powerful option being murdering children.
To me, it feels like just someone somewhere is like, well, I made the right choice. Why am I not being rewarded for it? And it's like, that's kind of the point of the game. That sometimes the right choice is made. You make the right choice because it's the right choice, not because you're going to be rewarded for it. But then they reward you for making the right choice, which goes against the themes.
Ultimately, the commentary being made should be that, yeah, if you want to achieve like all of the wealth and power in this world and many other worlds that might be real, then you have to step on people and like, if there's dead children on your hands, like if the blood of dead children is on your hands, so be it. I'm the most powerful now.
It's like, you're gonna have that innocent blood on your hands, but you'll be rich and powerful.
Yeah.
Can you live with that?
But then,
like I said, it gets undone when you've made the correct. I'm not saying that. It's the correct choice to save a child.
The morally correct decision, but then it also becomes the way to gain more power. It's like, God damn it.
They say it goes against what was one of the themes of the game, and it would have been interesting if they had the balls to commit to that idea.
Yeah, it would have been.
Making the correct moral choice makes you an objectively weaker character.
But you come out with like the good ending as the good person, right?
Yes, not everyone can have the balls that Spec Ops The Line did.
Yeah.
Right? Spec Ops The Line, I think whenever I see like people talk about Bioshock taking risks, it's like, no, Spec Ops The Line took fucking risks. That's a game where it straight up tells you, you're a monster. Yeah. Why are you still playing this game?
I do wonder who published. So both of them were published by 2K.
Yeah, who now make Grand Theft Auto games and basketball games.
And, the reason I got reminded to talk about Bioshock is because, like, there was a news story, very recent to, like, the time of recording, but this recorded a bit early, of just like, hey, they're really struggling to make Bioshock 4 happen, and, like, it's all falling apart, but they are still trying to make Bioshock games, but clearly it's not going well. But yeah, just...
I know they've been trying to make a Bioshock movie for a while as well. It's like, we've already got the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and I would love... Because, like, the Bioshock games, they set up a world where just utopian, quote-unquote, cities exist, and, like, there's lighthouses and, like, multiverse shit and stuff. It's just, I would like the idea of a parallel story of different, cool, unique world that we've not seen before, and they do a Bioshock movie that way, of just give us something brand new.
I'm not sure, because I think I played it once years ago, and I remember, like yourself, getting really annoyed. You probably replayed it more than me. I got pissed off by the realisation that, so you couldn't even stick the landing and commit to the gimmick. Because I was like saving when they started giving me Adam for saving the little sister, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Also, cool, my character, I get new moves to use, but still, you couldn't commit to that idea, really?
Yeah, it's one of those weird things, right, of trying to find the balance between satisfying gameplay and satisfying the narrative of, yeah, sure, for being the good guy, we want to reward you, but it doesn't work within the themes and the narrative that they themselves try to commit to.
Yeah, of sometimes you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to be rewarded for it. Also, you'll get rewarded by getting more rewards than if you'd have just stepped on the children and fed them to the grinder.
That's the thing. I'm talking about Bioshock because I've replayed Bioshock 1 and 2 a lot. Bioshock 1, I think I got, all the achievements in that game and stuff, and just, played it multiple times. I do also, at some point, want to talk about Bioshock Infinite, but I think that's a game that I definitely want to replay before...
I think we should, yeah.
...talking about, because that has gone through, the absolute grinder in terms of people's perception on how good that game was.
Again, I remember, it's just there's something about the binary moral choice, it always pisses me off. Because I remember playing Fable, and I got so pissed off playing that game. And Peter Molyneux was like, you'll make some really hard moral choice in this game. It's like burn down the orphanage and feed them into the grinder to make soup, or repair it. And it's like, this is not a fucking moral choice. Yeah,
it reminds me of Bioshock Infinite. I can't remember exactly why I want to replay it before talking about it properly. But just... Elizabeth, who you've freed and is trying to help escape. It's like she's like, do you think we should go with like the free bird pendant, or do you think we should go with the bird cage? And like, do you think I should be locked up, or do you think I should be free? Kind of vibes. It's like, oh come on, really?
It's so on the nose, and there's no real discussion to be had there because there's clearly one quote unquote correct choice. Whereas something like Mass Effect, another one, the genophage. Should you cure the genophage? That's something people argue about to this day because it does pose an interesting moral quandary of, okay, the genophage, people don't know. It is a genetic disease, I believe, introduced for this species called the Krogan. They are a very warlike species of people, they're very hardy. They basically live for battle. Their culture revolves around battle. They love battle. They love fighting. It's like, might makes right is basically their philosophy for who leads. They live for 1,000 years. They were
most of them don't, right?
Yeah, they were elevated. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, the reason why they're such a warrior race is because, like, they can breed so quickly, right?
Yes,
that
like they
can replace the numbers that die in battle.
Yes, they live for 1,000 years, and they talk about how, hey, there was these things called, it's the Rachni, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Rachni.
They were, like, absolutely kicking our ass on a literally galactic scale. As a last-ditch effort to fight this existential threat to all life, we went to the Krogan planet, elevated them, because they were just warring bands of, they were seen as, like, warring, like, tribal bands of Krogan fighting each other. They had culture and art, but fuck that. We need soldiers. We'll elevate them. We'll give them access to, like, space travel technology.
Mm-hmm.
In return, they fight our war for us. The Krogan do that, lose untold billions of their race to save the galaxy from the Rachni, and then start exploring the universe. They now have space travel. In response, like, can't have you doing that. We're going to introduce a genetic disease that prevents you from breeding properly. So one in every 1,000?
Something along those lines of, like, 1 in every 1,000 Krogan woman still has the ability to give birth. It, like, drastically, nearly makes breeding impossible for Krogan, but they leave that, like, 1% chance or 0.1% chance or whatever it is in there just so that they can sustain slightly.
Yeah, and it decimates the Krogan race and their culture because their culture completely collapses. It's like, it's a la End of Man, the film where, like, just suddenly women stop being able to get pregnant and just the world collapses because the fuck are we bothering to build a new world for our children when we can't have children?
Yeah,
fuck it, Mad Max.
It's just one of those, right? Like, we don't want to commit complete annihilation and make them extinct, but also, if they can stop the Rachni, what's stopping them becoming the next Rachni? We need to shut their capabilities the fuck down.
It's not quite genocide. It's genocide with extra steps because, like, we're not going to kill all of them, but we are going to basically kill their culture. And when a species' culture dies, the actual death is not far behind.
Yeah, the species becomes nothing more than just kind of vague clumps of mostly kind of like bounty hunters and bodyguards and stuff because they're still strong and can live for a long time, but ultimately their species doesn't matter anymore, their culture doesn't matter anymore. Like
they talk about it as a collective nihilism amongst the species. So effectively, they did kill all the Krogan. It's just going to take a long time. And you have the option of, hey, we can cure the genophage and allow the Krogan to once again flourish as a society. And I've seen people argue for, they're too dangerous. We can't let them do that. I disagree with that, but I can see their argument from a pragmatic sense of the Krogan are dangerous.
They could become another galactic level threat given the opportunity, especially after seeing what the galaxy did to them, right?
Yes.
It's one thing before the genophage saying that, well, technically the Krogan could turn on us at any minute. Given the opportunity, if you cure it and they get their numbers back up, why the fuck would they not?
Yes, and like I've seen the argument for that's like one of the arguments made for not curing the genophage. I disagree with that on moral grounds of you can't collectively punish an entire species for something they might do.
Yeah, not even did do, could potentially maybe do if they were pissed off. And guess what? You've already pissed them off, but I still stand behind the idea of maybe let's not commit genocide, maybe let's help them out. Yeah,
and especially after you, as like a galactic government, elevated their species before their time. And one of the things that's really kind of dark. When you go to like the Krogan homeworld, they have art and culture and statues and cities. And your party's surprised. Like, I didn't know the Krogan had art. It's like, yeah, of course we did. What do you think we were doing? We had a society. You killed it.
Yeah, and they even have people that are kind of like, I don't know, like almost like religious leaders, in a sense of like they're not combative. They're people who care about like the culture.
Which shows that not all Krogan are warlike or even want war or battle.
Yeah, because when you go to like try and get, I think it's the loyalty mission for Grunt, is it? Where just like you basically become part of the Krogan clan because you prove yourself to be a badass and kill a Thresher more. And it's like, yeah, there's somebody there to indoctrinate you into like Krogan culture and say that you're one of us. Give like that honor and respect.
Yeah, but like the overall point I'm trying to make is that the choice of whether or not to kill the genophage is one that I can see people discussing. I have seen people discuss it.
Yeah,
a lot of the moral choices introduced in Bioshock, there's not really an argument for either one.
No.
Like for the quote unquote bad choice.
No, there's not.
It's
a lot.
It's very binary. You only make the bad choice in that game to see that ending.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things of like I made the decision in the first playthrough because I was like focused gameplay wise rather than narrative wise. The first time I played it, I was maybe like this came out in 2007, so I was probably about 15.
Yes, I played it a bit later.
It. Give me the power. I'm going to kill these children.
Give me the goo. They're only digital. They're the digital facsimile. They don't give a shit. And you get older and think, well, no, I'm going to give this medium more credit, right?
Yeah. So the first time I played through the game, I said, "Give me the power," and I got the bad ending, and like killed all the children. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing to. We've discussed this for a while, but it's probably a good thing to step back and just read from the wiki for a minute.
Go for it. Yeah, sorry. My frustration is I really don't like
into like that element, but we should probably explain what the game is for people who don't know. And Bioshock is 2007 first-person shooter video game developed by 2K Boston, who later became Irrational Games, and 2K Australia, published by 2K. It's the first game in the Bioshock series, was released for Windows and 360 in August 2007, and then a PlayStation 3 port was released in October 2008. And you've got to remember, this was one of the video games that kind of kicked off that moment where like, oh, the 360 is the one, because
it's popped off. Yeah, it's one of the things that helped them win that generation, if you want to use that terminology. It was that Halo 3 and like Modern Warfare all came out in 8 months of each other.
Yeah, like maybe within like less than 6 months of one another. They think August to November 2007, you've got an exclusive, like highly critically rated game in terms of Bioshock. Then you've got Halo 3, which was both highly rated and a Halo game, your IP. Then you've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where everybody pretty much agreed, Xbox Live was way better at the time, even if you had to pay for it, in terms of just connectivity and capability and things.
And player base,
also, yeah, and player base. And then also just, the marketing was all Xbox related in terms of Call of Duty for the 360 era, so people just had that association. So you could basically say, like, and Mass Effect in 2007, actually, yeah, which was, again, at the time, exclusive to Xbox. And you had 2000, like, you already had Gears of War, some Forza and things like that, but in 2007, you had the argument of, like, well, Xbox 360 has Bioshock, Halo 3, Mass Effect, and also everyone's going to be playing Call of Duty on there.
Yeah.
And, like,
it popped off.
It's a hard thing to argue against, right?
Yeah. It's like, is there a game from that like early era of Xbox that you want to go back and just see? Because one for me that I bet it doesn't hold up at all. I would love to go back and play the Condemned games. Right. I remember those games, because they're the ones that it's like, oh, you're hunting a serial killer. But it was from that era where, okay, we're going to put for every fucking button prompt a giant Xbox 360 like X or A or B or Y on screen, and we're not going to try and like make it part of the UI, because that wasn't really a thing that had been established as you can do that, So just you have this game that's trying to have like a horror tone, and then which is annihilated near enough every time you're walking around the world, because you'll constantly have like press the right trigger, press X, press Y.
Yeah. in terms of like video games on that level, I was, maybe thinking of like a better game, but in terms of like the kind of really middling reviewed games,
Okay.
I would like to see how bad Dark Void is. Because
Dark Void, that got a push.
Dark Void got a push, and I was really interested in it. I was like, oh, it's a cover shooter, but you've got a jetpack. How are they going to utilize this? But
that's the one we had like the crawl spinny thing, right? The big tringle that you threw.
There was a different one, I think.
Is that not Dark Void?
No,
okay.
Maybe if you could look that one up. Because
I'm going to look that game up.
Dark Void came out around the same time and had similar vibes, but Dark Void was the one with the jetpack.
I don't fucking recognise Dark Void at all. Okay. I don't even know what that game was called. It's like Dark something or other, right?
Mate, Dark Sector?
Dark Sector, that's it.
Is that what it was? Yeah, Dark Sector.
Dark Sector, it's the dude holding like the fucking the crawl blade.
Yeah.
God, that game sucked ass.
Because I imagine Dark Void is probably a similar thing of, well, what could you do if you add a jetpack to a cover shooter and it was just a generic cover shooter?
Yeah, that was also a cover shooter, but the gimmick was you had like a fucking throwing knife.
The controllable blade that you cut through everyone, right?
Like you could throw it like Xena. And one of my I still recall it to this day, where do you remember like they used to have like those shows on TV of like, hey, here's some upcoming games. We're going to interview some developers. Mm-hmm. There was like a preview for Dark Sector, not Dark Void, where they're interviewing like the developer, and it's like, yeah, it's getting some real good buzz. And I still recall to this day, it's probably the best I've ever seen anybody spin in real time, where they show someone playing the game, and you see him fighting a boss, and he's just not doing any damage to the boss because the weapon fucking sucks and the gameplay's really bad. And you see the developer watching that and goes, yeah, that's quite popular. We had one guy fighting the boss for half an hour, but he had a smile on his face the entire time. That's how we knew he made a good game. It's like, if I fought any boss in a game that's not a JRPG for half an hour, I'm like, this game fucking sucks.
Yeah. Oh, God,
just half an hour of this guy chipping away at the boss's life bar. And they were like, that's fine.
If this is, even like fucking Dark Souls bosses and stuff, they don't take half an hour, but a boss where you like...
They could take half an hour of multiple
rolling around,
attempts.
Dodging attacks, and, chipping away at a boss and learning the patterns and stuff. But the idea of just fighting a bullet sponge for half an hour...
It's terrible, right? Like, you don't even get that in Destiny, I imagine, right? Even the biggest bullet sponges take like 10, 15, which feels excessive.
Yeah,
double, triple
even
that.
Raid bosses, they might take half an hour, but it's because you're doing puzzles between the damage phases. Like, the damage phases only take, 30 seconds a pop.
Oh, fun fact. Guess who's the voice of the main character from Dark Sector?
Is it Nolan North?
It's Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, it's Michael Rosenbaum.
Michael Rosenbaum! We talked about him like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did. Go check out the Smallville episode. It was a fun one.
Oh, his character's called Hayden, and he fights with his glaive.
The good old glaive.
He also had multiplayer. Remember where every game had to have multiplayer?
Bioshock 2.
Bioshock 2 had a multiplayer mode. It fucking did, didn't it?
Yeah.
What was the most tacked on multiplayer, and why was it Dead Space 2?
Dead Space 2 was up there. There's the Tomb Raider one as well. One of the Tomb Raiders had a multiplayer mode.
I heard like the Assassin's Creed one was weirdly good. It didn't suit the tone of the game, but that was apparently really good.
I think like it was like Brotherhood or something, and you basically had to play like hide and seek as NPCs against the assassin. That was really fun.
Yeah, I heard that was weirdly fun. And Mass Effect, apparently people like the third one. People like the... I never rated it, but...
a lot of people do enjoy it, yeah.
Which we can acknowledge, right? It's like, I never found it fun. I dropped off immediately. I've got fucking Call of Duty on.
The thing that pissed me off about Mass Effect 3 was that at the time, like, the Legendary Edition kind of helped solve the issue, but it doesn't have the multiplayer, so they had to adjust some of the numbers. The multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 was basically necessary to get Galactic ready for... or to, like, maximise your Galactic readiness for the battle at the end to get the better endings.
Yeah. Then it sucks that...
maybe not ending, but, better things happen for you.
Yeah, and then the what is it now? The Dead Space one was interesting because that was when EA was toying with the idea of digital licenses for games. And also they didn't want to do it with one of their big games. So they're like, you know what? We're going to tack on a multiplayer mode for Dead Space 2, and your game comes with a code, and that's how you access the multiplayer. So if you buy a pre-owned copy of the game, So they didn't want to do it with FIFA, because FIFA, that would have like...
I think at some point they did do it with a FIFA.
Maybe they did, but I know they did it with Dead Space first. And I know, Joe, I know that multiplayer mode sucked ass. When I got my pre-owned copy of Dead Space 2, I put in the code to see if it still worked, and it did. The previous owner didn't even fucking touch it. Also, apparently we might need to play or revisit Dark Sector, mate, because it was banned in Australia for being too violent.
No.
So it apparently had very violent finishing moves. I'm always a fan of cool finishing moves in games. Also, the company that made it went on to make Warframe.
Oh, right, okay. So Digital Eclipse, is it?
It's the Digital Extremes. So it's the precursor to Warframe, which I only played like for a little bit during the pandemic, because what the fuck else was I going to do? But people like some Warframe.
Fun with it, but I ultimately had to be like, I've already invested years in Destiny and Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I've already made my bed with what live service game I'm committed to.
But now that I know that, I can see it.
Yeah,
I can. As soon as I read that, I immediately in my head went, you know what? That clocks. That immediately tracks in my mind of Dark Sector being like, the concepts and stuff being revisited and reimagined for Warframe.
It's certainly as edgy as Dark Sector. No, I'm joking. It's definitely not as edgy as Dark Sector was, goddamn.
Warframe was fun until I was playing it with the friend that got me into it. I tried to. And I finished a mission, I had like 85 different currencies. I went, how do I get a cool gun? And it's like, well, you need like 14 different currencies. I'm like, fuck this. As soon as they went, you need to go get these orbs. I went, no.
I had the experience of playing Warframe maybe, probably around the pandemic, I presume. But for the longest time, I would try and ask friends to get into Destiny 2, and ultimately it's really hard to kind of understand what the new player experience is like when you've been playing from day one, but as opposed to, them just jumping in 5-6 years down the line. I then experienced what it was like on the other end going into Warframe when it was years in. And yeah, it was just, there's so many mission types, there's so many different ways that I can go, there's so many different currencies, I don't know where to start.
Yeah, it's just too much. I understand those Warframe fans, they love some Warframe. It's just not for me. It was too overwhelming. I didn't have the time
to get into any of those live service games when it's years and years in. If you don't have a person to kind of Sherpa your way through, it can be so tough.
Also, we don't want that person. Don't go into our Discord and be like, hey, I can show you how to play Warframe. I don't want to play Warframe. I've got too much other stuff to do.
I've finally kind of broken the shackles of 10 years of Destiny. I don't want another one. I don't want another job.
Put the shackles back on. Just Lucas releashed. Let's go.
But anyway, going back to Bioshock, Karl. The game follows player character Jack, who discovers the underwater city of Rapture, built by the business magnate Andrew Ryan to be an isolated utopia. The discovery of Adam, a genetic material which grants superhuman powers, initiated the city's turbulent decline. So essentially, drugs got introduced into the city.
Are they drugs that give you superpowers, though? Can it be considered to be a drug if you get fucking superpowers from it?
Yeah.
Because a drug suggests it has a detrimental effect. It gives you superpowers.
Drugs do not suggest detrimental effect, Karl. There's drugs that you take for medicine, right?
Yeah, but used in that context, it sounds like heroin or something, right? Where heroin does not give you superpowers.
Heroin does give you superpowers, Karl.
No, meth gives you superpowers.
That's true.
Bath salts give you superpowers.
Maybe not superpowers that you want, but goddamn, you're gonna believe you've got superpowers.
Yeah, if heroin gave you the ability to fire lightning out your fingertips, people might take it more.
The thing is, most people in that universe that have taken Adam aren't running around shooting lightning out their fingertips. They're running around like crackheads that haven't taken anything in 3 weeks.
Are they just like shit then?
They're all just they've completely lost their mind. I can't remember the exact justification for it. Of maybe they don't have access to Adam anymore, and that therefore is causing them to spiral or whatever. But everybody's just a psychopath with a crowbar. Essentially,
I can see it.
Just everybody is what obviously we're using very defamatory language around drugs and stuff, but that typical kind of
don't
Hollywood
do drugs, kids.
Idea of this is what a person who's taken drugs and has no meth left is they're crazy, and goofy and they're going to assault everyone in sight. It's
I
like,
wouldn't
no,
use
a
the
lot of
term
people
goofy to refer to a meth head.
No, but like that's kind of, a lot of the portrayals you'll see in media, right? Of like,
Yeah. It's like someone
they're crazy and they're going to attack you. Like, it's
they're
like a lot of
tweaking,
people
right?
just struggle with drugs and addiction and stuff. We have to obviously clarify. We're just being a bit silly about it, but yeah.
Like most people addicted to drugs don't run around like swinging a scalpel or a baseball bat at you. They're just, tweaking in an alleyway somewhere and need help.
Yeah. Struggling, yeah.
Not that video games would ever tell you that, right? So it's similar to like mental health, right? People with mental health issues.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people with mental health issues are non-violent and just need help. Sometimes just need someone to talk to. When have you ever seen like a portrayal of mental health like issues in a piece of media that actually deals with the topic in a sensitive way or even a realistic way?
Look at a video game, probably again from 2007, Arkham Asylum, right? Like Batman's entire rogues villains is just mentally ill people.
Yeah.
It's just got an entire asylum worth of like evil people. It's like they're just mentally ill.
Yeah. And just the idea that for some reason in that universe, every single person with mental health issues immediately tries to fist fight Batman.
Or like murder everyone on sight, right?
Yeah. What was that like person who summed it up? I think it's like a Reddit shit post of like there's this dude, it's like, he gets time travel powers, immediately decides to draw like clock hands on his glasses and fist fight Batman. What the fuck's what was his issue, right? Is there something about having superpowers in the DC universe that makes you an idiot?
Apparently so. But yeah. The city's in a turbulent decline, but Jack, the player character, attempts to escape Rapture, fighting its mutated and mechanical denizens while engaging with the few sane survivors left and learning of the city's past. The player can defeat foes in several ways by using weapons, utilizing plasmids that give you unique powers, by turning Rapture's defenses against them. And that's where kind of this is very much a spiritual successor to games like System Shock, where that's where the shock comes from in BioShock. Just it's like them paying a lot of allusions to that kind of game, and there's a lot of systems where you can take many encounters in different ways, and you can lean into being good at hacking. So like you can go and hack security cameras.
That hacking minigame.
I love that hacking minigame.
It's the pipe one, right?
The pipe one, yeah. It's great. It's just a game in itself, but they put it as like a hacking minigame. I think you can get so good and so rapid at those pipe minigames.
I don't like pipe. I don't like hacking minigames. That's why I love Dead Space, because how does Isaac Clarke hack something? He puts his fucking hand in it and rips the wires out. He's got no time to fuck around.
No, I really enjoy the pipe minigame in BioShock, and I think
some people do.
Most hacking minigames are not good, but I think BioShock's pipes is a good example of one that's actually interesting and got a good like skill level to it. I do see the argument of it interrupts gameplay a lot, though. I do understand why people do just want to go press hack, and hack works.
Yeah.
But again, this is like immersive sim. It's a bit more slower paced. It's not fast paced, frantic first person shooter, which is quite funny when you think about that was the entire marketing for BioShock Infinite.
Oh yeah, the first thing is
the shooting is.
It's what we've talked about, isn't it? Of if you're going to try and sell me on an interesting concept for a game, the moment your character pulls out a gun, I'm done. What game was it we mentioned that recently? Where someone's pulled out for me it was Scorn. Which is pictures it's like, you can wander through this like horrific hellscape inspired by the work of like H.R. Giger. And the moment any excitement I had for that game evaporated is when your character pulls out a fucking gun.
Mm-hmm.
Now
all of the marketing was kind of showing off the puzzle elements a lot, and I was like, I think they did show guns in the trailers, but I think it
first
didn't
trailer. Yeah, the
that.
instant I saw that gun get pulled out, I went, "This is not what I want."
I wouldn't mind if that was fuck it, you've got a Doom-like fast-paced shooter where you're going around these cool spaceship that again inspired by H.R. Giger's work, and or it was very, very puzzle heavy and didn't have shooting and had very good puzzles, but it felt like it did neither. It felt like it kind of went for both and did neither, right?
Yeah. It's the quote from Lorne Lanning about Abe's Odyssey. When he was making Abe's Odyssey, they kept telling him, like, the higher-ups, like, why don't we give Abe a gun? Wouldn't it be funny if we gave Abe a gun? He's like, it's a puzzle game. So, no, but we could give Abe a gun. And Lorne Lanning's like, no, we're not giving Abe a gun, because the moment you give a player a gun, that's the solution to every problem. I don't want that from my game. I don't want the solution to be violence.
There's puzzles which you can use
a gun.
Mind control to use a gun that is being held by somebody else, but the moment you give permanent access to a gun, that's the only thing that people are going to use.
Yeah. And I really liked his justification of the moment a player has a gun, that becomes their solution to every problem. And I don't want that to be the first thought in a player's mind when walking through the world I'm making.
I can only imagine that they built all these systems in BioShock, and because it became quite a mainstream success, it's like, oh, did you hack any of the turrets or the bots or the cameras? Did you use any of the plasmids to, like, electrify the water to stun your enemies to make them weak? It's like, no, I just shot them all.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that's 90% of people who play this.
We mentioned Mass Effect, right? Was that really, like, frustrating statistic from BioWare? Like, yeah, like 70-80% of players play default male Shepard, soldier class Paragon. So they just picked default man with gun and didn't engage with the story in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
they just picked the positive option for every single one.
Yeah. Yeah, wild. And then a lot of people came out in the comments for, like, calling out, oh no, that's just what everyone did for their first run, and then they went back and did other things. That's literally not what the player stat says.
Yeah, it's also as well, if you're a person who replays a video game, you are in the objective minority.
Most people don't finish it the first time.
Exactly. I was just about to say, a majority of people don't even finish video games. If you're replaying the game multiple times, you're in a minority. So those statistics saying like 80% of players who finished the game did that, they're probably accurate, because people don't tend to replay games multiple times. Now you imagine that must have been the case with BioShock, of they introduced all these cool systems, most people shot the gun.
The shooting was pretty good in it. I can't blame people for wanting to shoot things, but yeah, just, you know that most people are probably just
not engaging
the game like it's an action game. The amount of people I know that just play Metal Gear games by shooting everyone in sight.
Yep. It reminds me, is a mutual friend of ours who talks about his brother being one of the most frustrating people to watch play video games, because all they play is Call of Duty, and anytime they play another game, it has to have a gun in it, or they won't play it. And he recalls watching them play through Borderlands, where they picked Axton, refused to upgrade any of their skill trees, they only went for the ones that give them more damage for their guns, and spent every combat encounter hiding behind cover going pew, pew, pew.
The one that got me is when they told us that, like, they played Bulletstorm like
Bulletstorm. And
the game where you're meant, the only thing about Bulletstorm is that you're meant to be running around and doing crazy tricks to get more points, and all they did was, like, sat behind cover and snipe people.
Yep, for every single fight. And then got to the end of the game and said, this game sucks.
Yeah, maybe it does. Maybe if you don't interact with any of its systems.
I'll admit, yeah, it does suck, yeah. As you said, if you don't interact with the systems, this game is terrible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, anyway, going back to BioShock once again, BioShock's concept was developed by Irrational's creative lead, Ken Levine, who is now, splintered off and making a successor to BioShock called Judas, but they incorporate ideas by the 20th century dystopian and utopian thinkers such as Ayn Rand, George Orwell, and Aldous Huxley. Is that how you say that name?
Yeah, Brave New World.
Okay, yes. And as well as historical figures such as John D. Rockefeller Jr. and Walt Disney.
I can see like the Disney-ified aspects, right, of him having that, like, is it the Epochs? Not Epoch Center. Something that are you talking about? You made me forget the word. No, but like the big golf ball, right? Epcot, yeah. There we go. That one, it's like over like retro futurism. It'd be called now, I believe.
Yeah, that's the correct term. The art design is very, like, I think Art Deco inspired. If my style's correct, but just the idea of you essentially go to this underwater utopian world that's essentially a fucking Disney theme park. Yeah.
And it just, as you walk through it, it's like, wow, none of this shit works. So remember we did the episode about, like, libertarianism? And we talked about, like, that book It's like a libertarian walks into a bear, which is about the town in America. The libertarians try to take over to prove that their ideas worked. They like slashed all government funding, and bears just came in.
Yeah. So they just left trash everywhere, and no one was there to clean it up.
You can't build a society built around an inherently selfish ideology. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
The functioning society requires cooperation and sacrifice.
Definitely, if people like these kind of things, I think, BioShock was one of the first ones to do it. There's a twist that I won't really get into. It's one of the most famous twists in all video games, but I guess it's been long enough now where probably it's gone full circle of no one's talking about the twist anymore, so there might be a lot of people who aren't aware of it. And
I can see a day where I log on to YouTube and see YouTube suggesting shit I don't want to watch, and one of them being like a YouTuber I've never heard of, going like this, playing BioShock for first time.
Yeah,
reaction.
Oh my god, twist. It's just one of those wild things at this point. Of the game's been out 18 years. There are probably people watching this that were maybe not even born when this came out, let alone in the discussion of what the video game was at the time.
There was no under 18s watching anymore, Lucas. YouTube's seen to that.
Gotta make sure you submit your photo of your government ID.
Yeah.
So you can fucking watch YouTube.
I can't believe it. Norman Reedus is Britain's horniest man.
Oh, God. Yeah. We'll see where that goes, I say we're recording this in advance. I wonder whether that's
we might not be able to
upload
this, Lucas.
We might not. I mean, I can't even say the word, but when people get pissed off at especially younger people on TikTok and stuff, saying words like unalive to get around censorship and to get around demonetization. We literally just had that in the Smallville episode of we're not running ads against that video anymore. So why? What? And I looked and I said, the K word. I didn't say unalive. And I'm now not going to say it because I don't want this to get demonetized, but just the inclusion of that one word, YouTube is now coming for us and being no ads on that one.
Yep, not allowed. Those gambling sites, advertise to children, don't like that language.
Yeah. Don't like me saying that word, but yeah, that's something now we've got to be aware of, apparently. Great. What a wonderful world we live in.
You know what? Maybe BioShock's right.
Was right. Wait, what?
She was shit anyway. My favourite fact about Ayn Rand is you have weirdos who support her, but they tried to make a Fountainhead movie. It was in 3 parts, and the first part is notable for every movie had an entirely new cast because of the actors who were in it, even the low tier shit actors who I love Ayn Rand didn't want to be in the sequel, so it was a fucking mess. So new cast in every movie. Also the third one, so if anyone doesn't know, one of the key philosophies of Ayn Rand is hey, no government fucking handouts. If you get what you earn, and if you can't earn it, you shouldn't be part of society. You should only you're only entitled to the sweat of your own brow. The third one was made as a result of donations.
Yep.
And every year, the Ayn Rand Institute gives away copies of her book to schools, most of which get thrown away.
I have not written a book, so I can't say too much. However, I firmly believe that I prefer the idea of never having written a book compared to the idea of writing a book that I can't give away.
Well, one of the parts about it, I've only read chunks of it, for research and stuff. It is terribly written. But I stumbled across a copy. I think it was not in a friend's house, but I stumbled across a copy and I was curious. There's a
previous friend's house.
I'd heard that there is a point in the book, where the main character basically goes on stage and makes a speech. And it's just Ayn Rand using her character as just a puppet to speak through. And the speech is 100 pages long. And I'm like, it can't be a fucking 100 pages long.
What?
And it's 100 pages long.
What?
And it ends with, I shit you not, everybody clapped. Everybody clapped because they're so smart. You're so smart. Your idea of let's not build hospitals because babies can't pay for it.
I do, think as well, I made the joke, but if I went to someone's house and they had an Ayn Rand book just on their bookshelf, fine, because it's an interesting read if nothing else, or like it's interesting to know about what those ideals being spread are.
Yeah.
Rather than liking the book. It's when someone's put it on display in like a little shadow box or something proudly as I've got Ayn Rand book. That's what you need to be worried.
Yeah, you're talking about Zack Snyder.
Oh dear, but Bioshock did receive universal acclaim, Karl, and was particularly praised by its critics for narrative, themes, visual design, setting, and gameplay. Pretty much knocking it out of the park there.
Just like the trifecta, right?
It was praised for everything. Considered to be one of the greatest video games ever made and a demonstration of video games as an art form. And then, it had 2 sequels, Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite, which both had DLCs, and then also there's like a remaster for the Xbox One and PS4, I think, which you can just play on modern consoles and stuff. And yeah, I do think Bioshock is a game that I would definitely check out. You can often find it on sale for literally a few quid even for like the HD remaster version. And I still think that it holds up relatively well last time I played through it a few years back, and it's got one of the most kind of like unique and interesting settings in a video game. It's got interesting characters, I'll say it's got a cool narrative, and yeah, then if you do buy the whole trilogy, then you can also play through Bioshock Infinite and hope for a video on that at some point, because
I do want to replay
that game.
Now, we do have like the plan of creating a gaming channel. If you get enough support on our Patreon.
We do indeed, yeah. Just goddamn. I remember loving Bioshock Infinite the first time I played it, and then playing it again a few years later, going, maybe this isn't quite as great as I remember, but it's still pretty great. I think playing it nearly 15 years later, I'm really intrigued.
How well it's held up, right?
Yeah, whether or not I agree with my previous teen self of like, was this a great video game and had great narrative, or maybe was this just like real try hard and on the nose? We'll find out soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to just find like the bit on the speech as well from the Fountainhead. It's just about some arsehole, right? It's like Howard Rourke. He's just a huge arsehole. His whole thing is like all about individualism. Like working together, that shit sucks. It's all about like what you can do for yourself. Mm-hmm. He's like arrested because his ideas are too dangerous, and he gives a speech to a courtroom, and is found not guilty, and everyone claps.
Oh, right, okay.
Remember we talked about it. It's the thing that always cracks me up about like Ayn Rand. It's like, do you know what we should do? We should have like an intellectual strike of all the people out there who actually do all the work. The thinkers should go on strike and see how society functions without the people who make like decisions and like come up with ideas. The same way that it goes on, like people who do the labour, when they go on strike, it shuts down. But then she considers herself part of that group.
The great creative minds, Karl.
Yeah, I thought herself to be more important than like doctors and scientists.
I will say, I don't want to go back to a world where we were watching television during the writer's strike era. I can't do it again.
It's almost like, when people work together, like say a bunch of writers or a bunch of creatives, great things can be done.
I can't watch Heroes Season 3 again, Karl.
No one can watch Heroes Season 3. It's also as well, it's like really funny, right? The idea of, you also get the thing of like, well, if we're all going to work together, or we're all going to work individually, but how about if we work individually together?
If we all came together to work individually as a group?
Yeah, and it immediately falls apart as an idea of like, look, it's all about individualism. Okay, so are you going to build your own roads? No, I'm going to do is get someone else to build my road. So you didn't build that. Okay. So what? So it baffles me that people buy into this.
It's the exact same, just hilarious thought of the what if America had one giant GoFundMe that we all put money into? So rather
than the universal insurance, let's just all pay into like one massive GoFundMe.
Yeah, I don't want to pay taxes, but what would be a great idea is one big GoFundMe to help us all out.
You know, it was that libertarian walked into a bear when they took over the town. They said, look, it proves that libertarian ideas work because look at what we've built. It's like, you haven't built anything. You just moved in something else that was already built and made it, and then made it fucking worse.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't build anything. You destroyed something other people built by working together.
Mm-hmm.
But they were so convinced that it was proof that their ideas function. It's like when a bunch of like crypto bros, like, we're going to buy a boat. I'm all going to live on the boat in international waters. And they bought the boat, but they didn't get anyone who knows how to look after the boat. Because they assume that as crypto bros, they were smart enough to figure out. So if some like shipbuilder in a shipyard somewhere knows how to fix a boat, I can figure it out, right? I
mean, honestly, that is essentially the plot to One Piece of how bad and stupid Luffy is. He just sets out. And he's like, I don't know, we're just going to figure it out on the day.
The thing is, that's not stupid. That's him not being aware of his limitations. But you have like the people like, I'm smart at this one specific thing. I should be good at it. It reminds me of an ex-friend. I don't talk to them anymore, but I remember we were talking once about the woods or something. We were going past like the woods in a car. And they're like, you know what? I reckon I could live in the woods on my own. And I'd heard so much shit from him that week. I went, no, you fucking couldn't. And they got really annoyed. It's like, no, I think I could. I think I could figure it out. I was like, okay, how do you lay foundations for a house? Well, I don't know. I'd figure it out, though. How? Have you ever... No, but I'd figure it out. How would you do plumbing, electricity? I could figure it out. What do you mean you could figure it out? How do you do it? Well, I'd just figure it out.
I do think it's a really good episode of The Office where
Michael goes to the woods, right?
I could go to the woods and survive. And Dwight's
it was literally that. They're just so convinced of like, I'm smart. What would you do? Well, I could figure it out.
It's such a funny and good portrayal of what would happen to 99% of people who try it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I was hot, so I cut my shorts. Like, I cut my pants into shorts, but now it's nighttime and I'm cold.
But it's like, there's all those shows, like, I think it's Naked and Afraid, where it's like, we're just going to dump you naked on an island and see how long you survive. And you always get like the huge like gym bros like, I'm going to fucking do it. And we're like, be hunting my own meat. I'm going to met my own like shelter within seconds. And it smash cuts to them like a day later. Just literally just sat in their own shit of like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. But they're just so convinced that they can do it because they can do it.
Seeing people talking about the couple of Mythbusters episodes that they did where they were like, we're stranded on an island with only duct tape. Obviously, production-wise, they weren't actually stranded on an island, but
just imagine we were.
In theory, what could you make just out of duct tape on an island? And people going, look, see, it's so easy to survive on an island. They had an unlimited supply of duct tape. Yeah, of course they could. You're not normally stranded on an island with unlimited amounts of duct tape.
Yeah, like stranded under ideal conditions, right? Just... There's something fascinating about that mindset. And I've no doubt been guilty of it myself on occasion, but like I said, with that person I used to hang out with, just hearing them so convinced that they could like go into the woods and build a house from scratch without any equipment. And when I told them that's fucking stupid, what you're talking about, they got offended at the idea that I didn't believe they could do it.
I would argue most people do not have the ability to go into the woods and start a fire with zero equipment.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone any other, level of survival skill needed to have access to food and drinking water and shelter. Just making a fire.
There's the good example of this is the show Survivor, where they basic plot, chucked on an island, survive. Obviously, there's some game show aspects to it, but they legit just leave you in the woods. You have water. You have the equipment to make a fire. I think you've got to earn it by winning a game, but you can go chop down wood if you want. And there's seasons of that show where people get to the 4th, 5th episode, and they've still not made a fire yet because no one can figure it out.
And obviously, TV shows like that, there's production teams around. Mm-hmm. If somebody actually is going to die,
they step in and help them.
Medical assistance is available, etc. But
so they have unlimited water and they have basic rations of food.
Mm-hmm.
But you see them of okay, we give you a chicken, and they'll say, okay, what do we do with this chicken? It's like, well, it's your fucking chicken, figure it out. And you'll be like, okay, we're going to slaughter the chicken. Okay, how do you kill a chicken?
Oh, they give them a live chicken.
Give them a live chicken, yeah. And it becomes a thing of like, again, you get the guys like, I can kill a chicken and slaughter a chicken. It's okay, sure. Maybe you can cut a chicken's head off. Do you know how to properly prepare it? Do you know where the gizzards are? Do you know how to like quarter it? And they don't. And you'll see them do it and they'll get the chicken, they'll kill it, and then not know how to butcher it properly and fucking waste it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get yelled at by their teammates. And it's like, you said you could do it? I thought I could.
It's a lot different than cutting up a rotisserie chicken, right?
Yeah. But they're just so convinced that they're able to do it because, I don't know, overconfidence, I suppose.
That is a TV show that I do want to cover at some point. Again, watching episodes of Survivor would have to happen, but I do really want to talk about that, especially the early seasons where they just haven't figured it out yet. It's
fascinating. A friend of mine's really into it, and the thing they enjoy most is the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
With 90% of winning Survivor is not actually about surviving, it's about convincing other people to not vote you out. That's where 90% of the game is played. And they have these things called idols that mean you're like immune from being voted out.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in one of the seasons, someone just made a fake one and just told everyone I found it. So yeah, I dug it up in the woods, you can't vote me out, I've got an idol. And that person just survived to the end because they assumed they had an idol. And when like the host revealed, like, that's not, we didn't give them that, they just made it and told you that it was.
We just didn't stop them, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not against the rules. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't make a fake one.
Mm-hmm. That's fucking genius.
Yeah, like people just like go through other people's bags and steal their stuff, or make it look like someone else stole their stuff so they get voted out.
And
like 90% of it just being an arsehole. It's great.
You obviously nowadays have people who are very adept at watching reality TV, so they go in with the mindset of like, I'm going to be so good, I'm going to be so sneaky. Those early seasons are what I'm really interested in. Is like
before people figured that out.
People weren't gaming the system back in the day. Like, they might have been gaming, like, the game show aspect, but they weren't watching it trying to, like, aim to come in to game the social element. Or
you
to
have,
get, figure out how to get famous by, like, being the person who's always, on camera and, being dramatic and things.
Yeah, there are examples of people, like, gaming the system. Like, just doing things that aren't expected. Like, one challenge, I think, is, like, carry these heavy weights, and you have to do it one at a time as a teammate. But they never tell you to do it one at a time. They just assume that you had to. One team's like, well, that guy's really buff, just get him to do it. And they just send him up 4 times. And the other team's like, wait, you can do that? It's like, there's nothing in the rules that we couldn't send up the same teammate 4 times.
Right.
He's just he's stronger than all of us, and he can do it in 10 seconds. It'd take us, like, 40.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Fair. But yeah, I did find it interesting looking here of just the critical response for BioShock.
Yes.
And the PC and 360 versions both got a 96 on Metacritic out of 100. The PS3 version, 94 out of 100. And then apparently there's an iOS version that is 68 out of 100. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right for that period of time of like, fuck it, make it a mobile game.
Not everything needs to be a mobile game.
No, it didn't try well, but yeah, just 96 out of 100 makes it one of the highest rated games of all time on Metacritic. There's not many games, that get to a 95 or 96 or 97.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very interesting. And I think, it's one of those things of, it's wild that even after BioShock is out, there hasn't been that many games that kind of swing for the fences narratively as much as it did with its themes and ideas. Like, maybe not necessarily the actual story, but especially like the themes of it.
There's probably a couple we've not played them. We're not recalling them immediately, right?
Considering like the influence that BioShock had at the time, it's interesting that there's not that many. There's not that many out of BioShock that have that kind of those vibes, right?
Well, I imagine there would be, we can't recall them.
Again, I'm not saying there's not any, but there's not many. For sure. It's like, yeah, there's no like, it's obviously harder the more you get into like games in the HD and 4K era where it takes years and years to make video games rather than months or a year or something. But you think back in the day where like a Doom game comes out and everyone's like, fuck yeah, let's make a Doom game. Like, let's all just copy it. just you go into like the 360 era and just like, oh, that wasn't necessarily happening as much. Like Assassin's Creed was a new IP around the same year, and
well, a lot of times it's like when they do rip off things, especially with gaming, it's always ripped off by people who don't understand why it was successful.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like most superficial service level stuff they rip off, right? It's like, oh, Marvel movies are popular. Is it because they're fun characters that are made well? No, it's because we've got superheroes in them. Let's make superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these superhero movies not doing well? BioShock did well. Is it because it's like an interesting game with an interesting story and these moral choices? No, it's because it has gunplay.
Yeah.
And superpowers.
It's because it had a Big Daddy in it.
Xbox mascot. Now PlayStation mascot.
The PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale mascot.
So the Big Daddy is an interesting villain as well. There's like even like a villainous enemy. Very iconic. Big
Daddy is, I think, like still a super iconic visual. Not the most fun fights in the end.
Like the hunters from Halo shit all over it, but
yeah, in terms of like the actual design of the Big Daddy character, great. And then playing as a Big Daddy turns out not very fun in BioShock 2. But anyway, yeah, I think we can leave it there and go for a quick little break, and then we're back with your wiki, Karl.
Excellent. Back in a sec.
And Karl, we are back, and I think there's not much housekeeping to go over this week, I believe.
No, besides, you can go to the Discord found below to continue the conversation that we've had here, or follow us on our Patreon, support us to help make more content like this. Well, one of the goals is to get a gaming channel set up, so maybe we play BioShock on that.
Maybe we do, or BioShock Infinite. We'll have to find out. There's many, many games on that list.
The list is never ending, right? The list is almost impossible to ever complete, because every time I think of I'd love to play that game, it goes to the bottom of like a 20 game list.
Yeah, exactly. The backlog is near infinite in these modern times, but
that does mean there would be an almost infinite amount of content. Not realistically infinite, but we would never run out of content for such an endeavour. We just need...
We're never going to run out of games to play. That's the idea, right?
We just need the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and I believe as well, we're not sure if it will be up on the Patreon as of the time of recording. We're also just trying to do little casual chats about what we are like playing and watching and listening to.
Yes.
On just kind of like a maybe monthly basis. We haven't quite figured out like a schedule to it. We're going to
not sure
up a video.
If it's going to work. Yeah, we try to go through things that we've watched, read, listened to, played that month, and whether or not we'd recommend them.
And whether or not you can expect to see them talked about in upcoming content, so that maybe you can try and keep up with what we're keeping up with and kind of make it more of a thing where people have the opportunity to know in advance and kind of prep in advance for like a discussion on the Discord in the community. Just kind of make things kind of, again, a bit more like community driven than maybe we have done in the past, and just do a better job on that side of things.
You can also criticise our taste.
I mean, no, that's not allowed. We'll ban them, right?
Well, I know
I
know I've got fantastic taste.
That's yeah. I think
I've got great taste because I like everything that I like. Fantastic, right? 100% hit ratio. Everything that I like is something that I like. Amazing.
Yeah, and sometimes the things I like so much that I'll just rewatch and replay them over and over again. And I did that thing last night of dipping back into the One Piece well again.
Why would you dip back into the well? You're already trapped inside the well and you're trying to dig further down.
No. So I just go around and watch highlights of bits that I feel like watching again, right? There's so much One Piece that you can just do that. I really enjoy this, part of this arc. You know what? I'm tired. I haven't got the energy to game. I'm just going to stick a few episodes of One Piece on while I get sleepy.
To be fair, I did do that yesterday where, for some reason, I was like, eat my food. I'll watch an episode of Avatar The Last Airbender. I like that show. Okay. And then I fell down the rabbit hole of man, that live action movie fucking sucked. I wonder if there's any interviews with M. Night Shyamalan out there talking about this movie. And I found one where he talks about how, people just don't understand this movie. People in Japan are calling me a genius for how I've adapted this. And maybe it's more Americans don't get it because it's made for a more European mindset.
It's an American-made thing.
And I'm just looking at him you're just a fucking idiot and you can't. Clearly, it's like it bothers him that people say it sucked ass, but you see him in real times create the false version of reality in his head. Like, people in Japan are calling me a genius.
And also, I love that as well. The people in Japan, who really appreciate this show because they made it. It's like, it's an American show, mate.
He didn't say that they made it. He just said that people in Japan.
But that gives vibes of like, well, it's anime. That's where like Japan make anime.
Well, the thing I was
really feels like a comment of like, but the Japanese get it. It's like, it's an American show.
The thing I was trying to figure out is why they mispronounced the main character's name. And I couldn't find... They call him Ong. It's
Ong.
spelled Ang, but they pronounce it Ong. And the only thing I could find is M. Night Shyamalan in an interview being really fucking like smug about, well, from the cultures that are being represented here, that's the more traditional saying of how it's pronounced. Like, sure, but that's not how it's pronounced in the show.
Also, was that... If you got wash going on right now, I just heard a weird noise.
Potentially, I've got the window open to get stop the house melting. Maybe
it's fine.
Maybe like a pterodactyl came in.
Maybe there's a ghost in your room.
There might be. I don't want a fucking ghost. But it's speaking of something that may or may not exist. Let's now talk about my wiki entry for the week, and it kind of fits with yours. Okay. Oddly enough, we don't plan these in advance, but sometimes things end up just being fortuitous and matching either in theme, tone, and what have you. And I brought forward Rocco's Basilisk. Are you familiar at all with Rocco's Basilisk?
I'm not, but I will say, Karl, we say we don't normally plan these. Maybe if there is like a themed episode that you want to see of us both bringing like a wiki to do with the same subject or similar themes or something, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Because I remember we did like a Wiki Weekdays podcast quite early on when we talked about like our favourite, or maybe not favourite, like we brought wikis for more vague Marvel villains, right?
Yeah, that could be an idea, yeah. But we
could plan things out a little bit more often, but right now, anyway, I don't know what it is. Did you say Rocco's Basilisk?
Yes, so Rocco's Basilisk is a thought experiment which states that there could be an artificial superintelligence in the future that, while otherwise benevolent, would punish anyone who knew of its potential existence but did not directly contribute to its advancement or development in order to incentivize said advancement. And I'm always a big fan of cool thought experiments, especially concerning sci-fi concepts, and I guess it's not so sci-fi anymore, like AI, artificial intelligence.
So this is a thing where you don't need to know about it, but if you do know about it, you have to be working in its benefit.
Yes.
Okay.
And not saying the theory has layers, which we'll get to, but it mentions here in the wiki, it originated in a 2010 post on the discussion board Less Wrong, a rationalist community web forum. And I did a little bit of research about Less Wrong, and it just sounds like it's full of the most insufferable people alive.
I mean, I like the idea, but the people that idea will then inevitably appeal to is not the kind of people that you want to be having a discussion with generally.
It just, again, having people on there, it's all about approaching subjects and open conversation from a rationalist standpoint. Sounds great. I can't imagine it's filled with anything but the smuggest people alive.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, while the theory was initially dismissed as nothing but conjecture or speculation by many users, Less Wrong's co-founder, Eliza Yudkowsky, considered it to be a potential information hazard and banned discussion of the basilisk on the site for 5 years. And an information hazard is a risk that arises from the dissemination of information that may cause harm or enable some agent to cause harm.
So in what way is that causing harm?
Because it might make an AI out there aware of this idea.
Oh, right, okay.
And that was an idea similarly posed by a philosopher. I don't want to say philosopher, the guy who wrote Rocco's Basilisk. It was an interesting thought experiment. That's Nick Bostrom, and they're the guy who came up with, I think it's the paperclip maximizer, which is another thought experiment which posits that if you had an AI, you need to give an AI a very specific set of tasks. You also need to define the parameters with which it is able to accomplish that task. Using the paperclip maximizer as an example, it says if you designed an AI to build and make paperclips, if you gave it very loose parameters on what it could and could not do, it might make the assumption that, well, to make as many paperclips as possible, I need to ensure my own existence. And the best way to do that is to kill anybody who would pose a threat to my existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, that's a wild jump in logic, but who's to say a machine of pure logic that doesn't follow human morals and like the way it would rationalize its decisions would not come to that conclusion?
Because if you don't teach it that human life is more important than making more paperclips, who knows what it could do?
Exactly, and you might not think you need to do that because it seems so obvious. It is obvious to us. It's not obvious to an AI.
I think a very basic example that people, the majority of people would be more aware of in that example is Ultron, right? Where just in Age of Ultron, the movie, where most people have seen it, which is why I'm bringing it up. The idea of, to save humanity, the only possible solution within my parameter, a very loose parameter of just saving humanity
as a whole, is to save it from itself.
Just stop them from the humanity, is because the biggest danger to humanity is humanity itself, so just therefore kill everyone. Yeah,
well, Senator Armstrong. He talks about it, might makes right. Like, we're not going to have any pointless wars in my future because everyone's going to fight for what they believe in, aka what I believe in.
Me.
So there's no pointless wars if everyone's fighting in my war, because my war's not pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, so the theory initially led to reports of panicked users, which were later dismissed as being exaggerations or inconsequential, while the theory itself was dismissed as nonsense, including by Yudkowsky himself.
I mean, I don't like the idea of just shutting down something because it's nonsense. Though.
Remember when I said this site feels like it's populated by the smuggest, most insufferable people alive?
Yeah, that's the difference, is that people having the conversation maybe, but I don't like the idea of just shutting down a discussion because, that's preposterous.
Yeah, which feels like antithetical to the idea of it's an open discussion where we can share ideas. Someone comes in with what I find to be a very interesting theory. If not theory, thought experiment of, that is interesting, that if there is a hypothetical super intelligence out there, who's to say it wouldn't do that?
A little what if, right?
Yeah, and it's an interesting thought experiment to discuss, and the site's founders fuck that, shut up. I think it's stupid, so we're not going to talk about it. But there's some background here. So the Less Wrong Forum was created in 2009 by artificial intelligence theorist Eliza Yudkowsky. Yudkowsky had popularized the concept of a friendly artificial intelligence. That's a hypothetical artificial intelligence that would have a positive, benign effect on humanity, or would at least align with human interests, which itself is probably less realistic than a completely soulless one. Because an AI, why would it have humanity's best interests at heart unless it was programmed that way? I was
going to say, unless you taught it that its primary function was to keep humanity at its focus and its heart, why would it make that essentially just subjective choice rather than just
why
go
would
with
it
a pure logical route of I should look after me?
Why would a super intelligent artificial collection of wires and shit? Why would it come to the natural conclusion that it should help humanity? Why would it give a fuck?
Especially when, obviously, if you look at things objectively, what is causing most harm to most of the planet?
Yeah.
Objectively is humanity. So why would you ultimately lead into the idea that that's the thing that's worth saving?
That's the Agent Smith tech, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's hey, humans don't act like mammals. They move from place to place and consume all the resources. Do you know what does describe humans in that sense? A parasite. Which isn't describing a parasite, because parasites don't consume all the resources,
latch on
really.
to one thing, and they actually...
He's not a one-to-one comparison.
The idea of a parasite is that they want to take enough to keep the thing going, and not all of it, right? They want to sustain.
It's not a one-to-one comparison, but you can see the point he's trying to make, or at least the point he thinks he's making. So, the thought experiment's name references the mythical basilisk, a creature which causes death to those who look it in the eyes, i.e., thinking about the AI. That's the idea there. It's you think about the AI, so if just having the thought that it might exist means that you are a potential observant. If you think about the fact it might exist, and the AI does come to exist, and it is somehow able to know that you thought it could exist and didn't do everything in your power to bring its existence into being, it'd punish you for doing so.
So what you're
Like
saying is somebody made the game a malevolent being.
essentially,
instead. Yeah.
It's the game, right? You thinking about the game you lost.
And I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm like in my 30s. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, how old did that get?
I think the first time on the internet, I know there'll be a comment
of
or
someone who's
many
mad
comments
that they lost the
someone
game.
who's mad. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the definition of something that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, like, if people don't know, the game is like it's a game where the only way you lose the game when you think about the game. So saying the game is enough, and like you said, people got so fucking mad.
And now you've all lost the game.
Yeah, it was funny once, 10, 15 years ago. It's not funny anymore.
It was funny when we were in high school, right?
Yeah.
It's
like
similar
a circle
to
game,
the
right?
people who
that one of like you got to put your finger through, bam, punch people.
Well, that's a little bit different because that involves physical violence.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get punched.
So does this, right?
But
if the AI gets in,
it's similar to like the Whamageddon that people play, at least in the UK. I think it's probably more widespread than the UK at this point, but like I'm aware that at least people in the UK play it. Of like during Christmas time, you try and go as long as you can physically without listening to Last Christmas by Wham, right?
Yes.
Is it?
Very popular Christmas song.
Christmas.
Yeah, it's Last Christmas.
Is it Last Christmas? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Might not be the full title, but it's the song like Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart.
And people get so annoyed when they lose that game.
It started as similar to the game, as a fun thing.
Joke.
It was just, how long can you go without listening to Wham? And when you do hear the song, announce it on Facebook, and maybe make a donation to a charity that singer George Michael supported.
Mm-hmm.
He died. It's a nice way to honour his memory. People took that and got so serious about it. Oddly enough, that friend that I don't talk to anymore, they were really into Whamageddon and got pissed off when I played it in my house because I liked the song.
Yeah.
And they legit got mad at me, like, I've just lost the game. It's like, who gives a fuck? It's supposed to be a fun thing, so you give money to charity.
It got to a point where there were people working in hospitality that, like, just some random person working on until retail or something would just get someone coming up and, like, screaming in the face because they've just played Wham. It's like, they probably don't even control what music is playing.
You know what it is? It's people who don't have a personality who've latched onto one that they've created online. It's similar to, or reminds me of, like, remember where Rick and Morty did the Szechuan sauce thing? And that was the funniest fucking thing in the world to the worst, most insufferable people you knew.
The really interesting thing is that, although it was still awful to do to the restaurant workers, apparently that one viral clip of the guy, like, stamping on the table and stuff of, like, I want sexual... Like, they did that as a joke to film for a YouTube video or something. Like, again, still insufferable.
Yeah.
But they weren't being insufferable in the sense of, like, they were the Rick and Morty fan. They were trying to take the piss out of the Rick and Morty fans.
But they still did annoy the workers, and also there were reports of people being maybe not that extreme, but there were reports of people going into, like, and harassing, like, McDonald's employees to ask for it.
There was definitely still examples of the sauce running out and people being insufferable because it ran out.
Yeah, it's similar to
maybe not
reminds me
stamping
of
on a table and being as extreme, but it still happened.
It's similar to what reminds me of GameStop. Remember, like, the GameStop meme stock? It's evolved into this whole other beast. But there's a great video by Folding Ideas, Dan Olsen, which brings up, like, somewhere along the way, GameStop just became this... I think shibboleth is the word, for people who were just like the most insufferable people you know online. And they would be going into stores to speak to employees and speaking to them about this incomprehensible meme nonsense from the Reddit. That is like, an evolution of an evolution of an evolution of an evolution of something that people probably heard in the news like half a decade ago and haven't thought about since. But in that one community, it's festered and evolved and changed to be completely incomprehensible gibberish to anyone who's not that deep into that.
There was a good solid year, and I don't know whether I've just gotten it out of my algorithm at this point or whether it's still like this, but Reddit became entirely insufferable because, like, every single time I was just scrolling Reddit, it was like, do you want to see the Super Stonks thing? Because I'd clicked on it one time to see what the news was about and do some research, and then it was like, no, please stop showing this.
Yep.
Please stop showing this. Like, I don't want this in my feed. And then I go on Reddit the next time. It's like suggested super stonks. GameStop meme is at this point, and it's like,
no.
Please stop.
It's fascinating. It could be a topic for a video one day. Cause something that I wasn't aware of. Cause like a lot of people, I saw it as, it was this historic thing. It was this collective moment of the internet being like, yeah, fuck those big investment companies, and then promptly didn't think about it anymore. It's become like, I think as Dan Olsen describes it, like an apocalyptic money cult, where the people in that group who are still there, still holding the bag, are genuinely convinced that if they just hold their stock in GameStop for long enough, eventually there's going to be this massive conspiracy unearthed where the government is going to have to buy out everyone who still has stock for billions of dollars.
Honestly, it is a fascinating case of real-time worldwide insider trading happen openly.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just, the law has not caught up to it yet. It doesn't know what to do with this.
Something Dan Olsen talks about, where it's mentions that, the government clearly wanted to get to the bottom of, like, was this insider trading? It's no.
It massively kind of is, right?
Like, but it's a weird thing where it's a moment of you can't arrest people because they also all happen to have the same idea at the same time.
But the law hasn't caught up to it when it's being organized openly in public on fucking Reddit.
And that's what's happened recently. There's a couple of people who've been involved who've become like figureheads of that movement, who have you can see, if you like look at it with you take a step out, you can see them manipulating the audience that they fostered for their own ends.
Telling people they need to hold. That's literally, even just on that minor case, they are telling thousands, maybe dozens of thousands, I don't know how many people are on that, actually have investment in the stocks, but I
imagine it's less than you think, but more than you'd expect.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's not millions of people, but it's probably hundreds of thousands. And they are being told what to do with their stocks. They're not actually having any amount of control if they listen to what the Reddit is saying.
And that's the thing as well. It's why it's so interesting, because you can see it's like this weird. The video, I'd highly recommend people look it up. I think it's just put in Dan Olsen folding ideas super stonks. I forget the name of the video, but you'll find it. It's like one of the most popular things they've done, and it's as they go through of how the community that organically arose became very insular, and as it became more insular, the people inside it just got more and more crazy. And in regards to bugging people, they will go into GameStop and just harass the workers, convinced that they are part of the conspiracy that they have invented entirely in their head. And the workers, it's so wild to see a worker in a store who has absolutely no frame of reference what this weirdo's talking about, confronted by someone talking entirely in meme lingo speak. It's similar to when you see those anti-woke people, and they it's a stream of just buzzwords that they know a YouTuber has said in a video. You occasionally see videos of them people talking about that in real life, and it's it doesn't sound like you're a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a person in my life. That's as much as I'll say. I have a person in my life that is fully, down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theorists, and, every time I have a conversation with them, they've unearthed a new conspiracy theory to bring up, and every single time I talk about, them, because I'm willing to engage in the conversation because I'm fascinated what they're going to say.
Yeah.
In terms of, how can you, every time have a new conspiracy theory that you just believe, but they just bring up the talking points for the fake moon landing, the flat Earth.
And they've got no original thoughts. They just repeat the things they've heard, right? Mm-hmm. And if you ask them to explain their points, they almost immediately crumble because they don't actually have any thoughts about the things they're saying. They just know that, or they think that there is a collection of words they can say to quote unquote win the conversation.
It's the latest one was about the aliens building the pyramids, and bringing up there's no way they could have actually engineered a way to cut that stone, and there's no way that you could move that stone. And I just brought up a video of someone, a documentary type video of, okay, so this is the way the people in the past would quarry the stone. And like, yeah, but it doesn't really explain how they could get so much of it, though, does it? It's like
there's a lot of people, a lot of time.
A lot of time and a lot of people.
The one that gets me is, why do so many pyramids? Why are they all the same shape? I remember seeing a documentary. I think it's the same one.
Because there's literally multiple different examples of pyramids.
Why do they all make them this shape? I think it's the same one with that sand pit. Remember I've talked about this before. It's like they have like the weirdo conspiracy theorists of like, how did you move the block across dry sand? And they put them in a sand pit and they're playing with blocks. And the person who is the researcher who actually fucking knows what they're talking about comes up and pours a bucket of sand on a bucket of water on the sand and slides the block and it compacts. In the same thing, you have them like, well, why are all these pyramids the same shape? They get a salt shaker and pour it on the desk. It's like, what shape is that? That's a pile. What shape does it make when there's a pile? Do you think maybe people figured out that when you pile things up, they go into this shape? Do you think maybe someone figured that out?
Maybe it's just structurally sound. It's like, it doesn't matter whether it's 3 or 4-sided. A pyramid and triangles are strong.
Yes. And just, it's wild, as I said, and the moment you try and ask them to engage with any one of their points, they normally don't have anything to say about it because they haven't thought about it themselves. They've had it spoon-fed to them.
It's a similar argument about, well, how did we come up with the shape of doorways?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, arches are strong. It's like, okay, but our modern doors aren't arches. Okay, but they started that way.
Yeah, the materials are stronger. Mm-hmm. Materials are stronger now.
Like, we've now, got stronger materials, got better ways of refining those materials and stuff, so we can just make big rectangles. But ultimately, doorways started out as arches because arches are stably strong.
It's a very stable shape, yeah.
And it's just, again, just triangles are good shapes. They are strong shapes.
The triangle.
You put some triangles together, you're strong. It's like, but why are they all the same? It's like, because maybe everyone figured out the same idea. And the ones that didn't figure out that idea, they all fucking fell apart. Yeah, and those aren't examples left standing.
It's the same reason why every culture independently figured out a pointy stick is a pretty good weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow figured out that if you can throw that pointy stick, and it's an even better weapon because now you can hit things from far away. It's almost like it's intuitive. It's a thing that's very easy to intuit.
I do understand the idea of it's hard to kind of grasp your mind around the idea of well, I couldn't figure this out in a week or a year or 10 years.
And that's usually the thing, right?
There was millions of people over millions of years eventually figuring it all out collectively.
Most conspiracy theories come down to, I don't understand. So as the protagonist of the universe, I don't understand how anyone else does too, because I'm the smartest person. They're the people who go on the Michael Scotts, right? Who go into the woods and well, I'm the smartest person in the world, so I can figure it out. Either way.
I'm the smartest person in the office that I know.
Yep.
Therefore in the country, therefore in the world, therefore I can do this.
So I'm the protagonist of reality, right? Mm-hmm. But we go back now to Rocco's Basilisk. I'm not sure how it'd be pronounced. Obviously, it's a username from a forum. So maybe it's Rocco, maybe it's Rocco. I apologise if I'm getting it wrong, so I'll pronounce it both ways. So it said in regards to the AI, and if people didn't, or anyone who's aware of the AI didn't work to bring it into existence, this method was described as incentivizing work. While the AI cannot causally affect people in the present, it would be encouraged to employ blackmail as an alternative method of achieving its goals. Rocco, while devising the theory, used a number of concepts that Yudkowsky himself championed, such as the timeless decision theory, along with ideas rooted in game theory, such as the prisoner's dilemma. Very simple, right? Everyone's aware of the prisoner's dilemma or some variation of it. Prisoners in a cell are told who's going to get out? One of you is going to get out, one of you is not. Does knowing that answer, I can't off the top of my head give the simplified explanation because you know what? I don't recall it. But we can quickly
one of those,
just
right, of if you both had a choice to in or out, but if you both choose the same answer, then neither of you get out.
Yeah.
Will anybody ever decide to vote out? or decide to stay in so the other person can get out.
Yeah, we have the overview of the prison dilemma here. So it's a game theory thought experiment involving two rational agents, each of whom can either cooperate for mutual benefit or betray their partner for individual gain. The dilemma arises from the fact that while defecting is rational for each agent, cooperation yields a higher payoff.
Right, yeah. It reminds, because the prisoners dilemma got turned into a game, right, in, is it called Golden Balls?
Golden Balls, yes.
In the UK, where you get either the opportunity to split money at the prize pool of money at the end. Do you split it with the other person, or do you steal all the money? And if you both pick split, you split the money equally. If one person chooses split, but the other person chooses steal,
they get all the money.
Steal all the money. The person who steals get everything. But if you both pick steal, you both get nothing.
Yes. So it's like, at that situation, the optimal choice is to cooperate. But there is an incentive to not. But the problem is that the other person has the same incentive. Hence the dilemma of, you know that, so in the prisoner's dilemma, it is like either two guys, like, if you dob in your partner, you grass them up, you snitch, you point that finger, you go free, they go to jail.
Yeah.
And then like the other prisoner is given the same like option, like snitch, and you go free, but your partner goes to jail. And therein lies like the game theory aspects of it of, okay, do I trust this person enough to not make that decision? And
which is why the greatest Golden Balls just discussion was the guy, I can't remember his name, but he sat there and just was like, I am going to steal all the money. He just openly said, I'm going to steal all the money from you. There's nothing you can do about it. So either we can both get nothing, or I can get everything. Make your fucking decision.
And he says it directly to the face, right? Like, I will betray you.
Yes.
There's no point.
100%, he's like, there is no discussion to be had. You cannot sway me. I am picking steal, therefore you need to choose split. And he just he wears him down of like, we either both get nothing, or I get everything, and I'll give you half later. And then, ultimately, when they reveal the balls, it turns out they both split. And he was just like, that was the best way I could convince you to like guarantee that you split with me rather than steal, is to just wear you the fuck down and say, I'm going to steal, we're both going to get nothing
because
if you do.
It eliminates the idea in your mind of stealing, because then you know for sure you'll definitely get nothing. And that's, you know, it's an adaptation, a variation of the prisoner's dilemma. And there's many variations of it.
Essentially, the prisoner's dilemma, the board game, the game show, right?
It's a very, very basic thought experiment that has been adapted and changed and altered many times, because it's first year philosophy stuff. It's like the trolley problem, right?
Yeah.
Of would you pull this lever to save one person on the track, or to save like multiple people on the track, but it kills someone else? So no, I wouldn't do that. Okay, so you wouldn't press it then, and you'd let those people die. And then that when the argument comes in is, am I letting them die? Is my inaction letting them die? Is it fair to frame it that way? Some would argue yes, some would argue no. And therein lies the discussion.
That's the discussion ultimately, is like, do you consider pulling the lever as killing someone, or do you consider not pulling the lever as killing multiple people? Yeah. Like, does your inaction like give you any moral dilemma, or are you able to wipe your hands clean of the situation because you did nothing? And
it's up to you about what your personal moral philosophy is. That's why you get a different answer, and that's why it is such a widely used example. So it's literally probably the first thing you get taught in like philosophy 101 when they come talking about morality.
And I think we should talk about The Good Place at some point. I think that is literally when Eleanor just decides, teach me philosophy. I think that's the problem they start with, is the trolley problem.
Mm-hmm. A very basic problem, but it's like, and it's wild to me that when I see like discussions of a trolley problem, there's always someone out there who thinks they know the answer. It's like, the point is that there is no correct answer. The correct answer is only the one that's correct in your mind. That's the point.
It can be correct to you, but it won't be correct to everyone.
Yeah, but when you have people who insist that, no, I know the correct answer, it's like, no, the point is that you don't have the correct answer, because everyone's morality will differ.
And that's why, you mentioned earlier that everyone thinks they're a philosopher. Technically,
You are.
Everyone is a philosopher, just a lot of people aren't good philosophers.
They're not able to explain themselves, or they become unable to listen to other people's opinion.
Everyone, has the ability to, on a very basic level, interact with philosophy and become a philosopher, but not many people are able to do much about it.
But in regards to Rocco or Rocco, they use the idea of the prisoner's dilemma to draw a conclusion that if an otherwise benevolent superintelligence either became capable of existence and being able to, impact people's lives in a material fashion, it would be incentivized to blackmail anyone who could potentially have brought it into existence, as the intelligence already knew they were capable of such an act, which increases the chance of a technological singularity. Rocco or Rocco went on to state that reading his post would cause the reader to be aware of the possibility of this intelligence. As such, unless they actively strove to create it, the reader will be punished if such a thing were ever to happen.
Oh, okay, so even the idea of learning of the concept and not trying to make it is also seen as an action that is not benefiting.
And that's the part of the thought experiment, right? And you could argue, well, even if such a thing were to happen, me being aware of it, me being aware of like this concept, surely that's not enough for the artificial intelligence to punish me, because how was I as an individual meant to impact it being created? And that's what you might have someone who argues like, well, you could have done something. Therein lies the argument and the discussion. But
even if you're not necessarily the person who could program said AI, you could then try and fundraise to get our project sorted, or try and find a team and put that together that could make that AI fair enough.
Later on, Rocco stated in a separate post that they wished they had never learned about any of these ideas. And this is why I think, oh man, the most insufferable people alive must use this forum. If it's someone like, I've had such a genius idea, it terrifies me. I'm scared of my own idea. But in regards to reactions, upon reading the post, Yudkowsky, the site's founder, reacted harshly, calling Rocco an idiot. Yudkowsky harshly refuted the idea, arguing that a friendly, super-intelligent artificial intelligence would have no incentive to carry out the punishment after its own creation. Which, that's your opinion, dude. You can't know what an artificial intelligence would think because it's not going to think like a person. It's not going to have your morals.
I also love the idea of somebody that created this forum of it's a place that we can
share
all
ideas,
be
right?
Open-minded and share our ideas the moment they read this post. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. The first response from the founder of the site is you're a fucking idiot, this is stupid. My idea is actually the correct one. I also did some research on...
What a fascinating forum to go and join.
What a great place for engendering interesting discussion, eh? And I did look up Yudkowsky, because they've got a blue link on Wikipedia where they clearly wrote a bunch of stuff themselves. It says they're entirely self-taught and never had any formal education.
That sounds about
right. And they spend all their time online arguing with people. However, in the original...
Okay. I was going to say, that's the problem with the person who's going to make a forum like this is a person who is innately just living online in forums, which is not the person you want making that space in the first place.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept and idea of trying to have a safe space to talk about interesting concepts like this, but when it's just written and created by a forum troll who just wanted to control their own space, it's it immediately falls apart.
Yeah, I did look as well, the website issued its statistics of user base, and it's 90% man. 90% straight white dudes use that site.
The amount of mansplaining going on in those forums is going to be insane, right?
So it says that Yudkowsky did not want... Rocco reported that someone had nightmares about the thought experiment. Yudkowsky did not want this to happen to other users who might obsess over the idea. Was also worried that there might be some variant of Rocco's argument that worked, which could be a serious information hazard. I mentioned earlier, it's something that's information that an AI in the future.
I think, I don't need to be the person making the AI, as I said. I'd just make some t-shirts. Yeah. Help out the AI in that way, right? Just become part of the marketing team.
That's the thing. If you didn't do that, would the AI seek to punish the humans who didn't help it come into being?
You know what? If the AI wants to sponsor this video and we can
go for it.
Yeah.
But it's really funny here. So it says they took down the post and banned discussion of a topic outright for 5 years on the platform. That sounds like a moderator of a forum, right?
Yeah.
It's since been acknowledged on the site, and Yudkowsky has expressed regret over his initial overreaction.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit of an overreaction. A 5-year ban on the entire topic.
Yeah, well, he does mention, so in 2020, the philosophy of the Zizians, an informal group of rationalists involved in 6 violent deaths in the United States.
Oh.
So maybe not delve into that, but it says that they were influenced by Rocco's basilisk thought experiment. So it did have some real-world impact. Ziz Lasota, the leader of the cult, believes the basilisks to be real and wrote on their blog, and I quote in part, "Eventually I came to realise if I persisted in trying to save the world, I would be tortured until the end of the universe by a coalition of friendly AIs." So, Yudkowsky did have some, foresight in this regard of maybe there's someone out there who's not all, that might be a bit mentally unwell, who would be fucked up by this learning of this idea.
Framing it as a risk in terms of maybe AI in the future could get a hold of this is a bit silly, but it's there's definitely people who
there are mentally disturbed people out there, who could be influenced by stuff like this.
But again, at what point do you draw the line? Because that could be said of everything that exists online.
There was a dude who shot Ronald Reagan because he was obsessed with Jodie Foster.
Exactly,
guy who shot John Lennon loved Catcher in the Rye. And the best bit about it is big. He didn't even fucking understand Catcher in the Rye. He read the book and thought the main character was right.
Right, yeah. That's the thing is, at what point do you hold yourself personally responsible for everything that exists that could influence people, which is everything?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a few years ago, there was some awful mass shooting in America, which I know doesn't narrow it down. But I was kind of tangentially involved with that because, as often happens, they found the person's social media and they followed a shit ton of Cracked writers and people who've formerly written for Cracked, including myself.
Right.
But they follow like 5,000 people.
Yeah, it's not necessarily to say that you were particularly you writers, the Cracked group of writers were of
absolutely
influence.
not.
They just happened to follow that group of people, right?
But it is interesting and quite weird when I saw on the news of this is the person who killed a bunch of people, here's their social media profile, and I click it and it said follows you. That was very weird, very spooky. I didn't like that. I didn't like the thought that someone who was that awful had liked and followed my stuff. But there must be some variation of that happening every day. There's probably someone watching this right now, listening to this right now, who I'd probably disagree with on moral grounds.
Well, I mean, we
just chances
see it very often, right? I still, see to this day the occasional comment on fat theme videos of people being mad about the fact that we denounced Donald Trump 7 years ago or something, 6 years ago, or whatever.
Still mad about it now. It's stay salty. At least to listen to what I said, right? Staying mad about it.
I mean, right, yeah, even to this day, there are comments on new videos that are I enjoyed the video. I still don't like what you said about Donald Trump. Go fuck yourself. But I don't want to stop watching your content.
If anything, I see it as a compliment that there's a person I fundamentally disagree with on moral grounds still watches my stuff. So how good must my stuff be if the person making it fundamentally disagrees with them on a base moral level? And they're still but it's pretty funny, man.
I'm fuck Donald Trump. If you still want to watch your content, by all means, but yeah.
I don't know why you would.
One of those fascinating things of I hope that we do a good job of speaking about trying to make a welcoming community and hoping that, we can say that human rights matter and all people matter. But it's wild to think that there's people who still watch our content that fundamentally disagree with that.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And will continue to watch it. It's odd.
It is. It's fascinating. It's something it's difficult to come to terms with, right? I said as we're looking at that screen follows you and it's someone who shot a bunch of people. It's not a nice feeling.
And ultimately, these kind of things are not something that I think that the human brain is really ready to comprehend.
It's too much, right? The world is too big.
So much.
But speaking of too much for the human brain to comprehend, it has been argued that Rocco's basilisk is a variation of something known as Pascal's wager. So Pascal's wager, if people don't know, it proposes that a rational person should live as though God exists and seek to believe in God. So you're familiar with Pascal's wager?
I wasn't, no.
Okay, so the idea is, even if you are a completely rational person, you say, I'm a logical person, I don't believe in God. If you are, you probably should, because Pascal's wager basically, you should probably hedge your bets a little, because, as Pascal's wager states here, the finite costs of believing are insignificant compared to the infinite punishment associated with not believing. Likewise, the infinite rewards for believing.
I understand that.
When you think about it, that's actually pretty sensible, right? Like,
You've got nothing to lose by believing.
Yeah, it's like essentially you're hedging your bets, right? Like, I don't believe in God. It's like, well, if you do, what actually changed in your life materially? Not much. If there's like the 1 in 8 trillion chance that maybe he does exist, what do you get? Eternity in heaven. Pretty good odds, right?
I think the problem that I see with that logic is that we don't live in a world where it's a binary. Do you not believe in one God?
And that's why, like, it's a thought experiment.
There's many gods and many religions, and if each religion is saying, if you don't believe in my religion, then you get it wrong and you get fucked. Then which one do you hedge your bets with?
That's why you got to do the Benny tech from Mummy, where he just carries like every religious symbol around his neck at the same time. But I like that as an idea of like, you know what, hedge your bets.
Yeah, like, if it was a one or the other, I would hedge my bets. You would believe because there's no reason not to, right?
It's what I do, man. I'm agnostic.
I'm just atheist, but like I try to just hope that being what I see, what I perceive as doing my best to be a morally good person is enough that if a God or a heaven does exist, then that would be enough, not necessarily believing in that God's existence. Just like being a decent person would hopefully be enough.
Yeah. But it's a fun thought experiment, right? Of even if like the odds the odds can be as low as you like, the fact that the rewards are literally infinite and the punishment will be similarly infinite. What's the harm in chucking a penny in?
I do think it's also one of those things, though, of the argument of like there's no such thing as a selfless act.
Yes.
Is it immoral to only be a good person because you're told that you're going to get rewards at the end of it?
Yes.
It's like, in my eyes, I see it as, being a more defensible position to say, I want to be a good person because I want to be a good person.
Yeah,
that's what I'm choosing to be.
I'm choosing to be a good person because I'm scared that I'll be punished if I'm not.
Exactly, right. Or I think I'm going to get rewarded for being so. So I don't have any concept of any reward. I just would like to be a better person than not.
But ultimately, the end result is the same, right? So I can see it from the other standpoint of does it? I guess it's that's a conversation for another day because
it's a fascinating thing, right? Of like, sorry, just to cut you off for 1 second.
Yes.
Like the idea that would you be judged for only being good because you've been promised a reward? Is that also a sin?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, go on.
Well, it says here that Rocco's basilisk, analogous, I hate this word. It's one of those words I just can never get right. Analogously proposes that a rational person should contribute to the creation of the basilisk because the cost of contributing would be insignificant compared to the extreme pain of the punishment that the basilisk would otherwise inflict.
Yeah, that's the thing. When it comes down to...
If you're deep into this shit and you're not all there mentally, you're a few sandwiches short of the picnic, I can see why this thought experiment might fuck you up.
I do like the term "a few sandwiches short of a picnic." That's why I was laughing, not the other part. But
you can also see as well why that line of reasoning is why you get those like religious nut jobs, right? Of in their head, it doesn't matter what they actually do on Earth because they think, well, it doesn't matter if I run around screaming at people or like campaigning to actually make people's lives worse because in their head, like after the 78 years I spent on Earth, I've got eternity in heaven. The fuck does it matter?
The idea of like confession and absolving your sins is so dangerous, right? Because people get taught that technically they can do whatever they want as long as they confess afterwards.
As long as you're sorry, yeah.
As long as you're sorry and you admit what you've done wrong you are therefore have the opportunity to be absolved of your sins. And it's like,
Oh, yeah. Cheat code.
yeah, that doesn't seem right at all.
Good idea, like I say. It's hedging your bets, man.
Yeah.
So
Fuck it. Do what you want, and then just when you think you're like about to die, just go and confess all your sins. Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? There's a great bit in the show House, of all things, about it, where a husband brings his wife into House, and House is an atheist, and he sees the husband praying, and he makes fun of him. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not going to help your wife. And he goes, I told my wife I would do anything to save her. How can I look her in the eye and tell her that I tried everything if I didn't try this? And you can see his logic, right? Like, I told her I would do anything to save her. I don't believe in God. But if there's even the fraction of a chance, I can't justify that I tried everything.
Like, at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But what if it did? Like, even if there's the smallest fraction of a chance, even if you don't believe there's a fraction of a chance, you might as well try, because the worst that can happen is nothing. Like, there's no downside, right?
Yeah. But I think I just like that, though, of just, if I told my wife I'd do anything to save her, how can I tell her that I tried everything if I didn't try this? And there's one last thing we can mention here, Lucas. Oh my god, this is a fucking pun.
Okay.
So even though maybe Rocco's Basilisk might not contribute to the creation of a monstrous AI that'll torture us all, but it resulted in something almost as bad. The thought experiment resurfaced in 2015 when Canadian singer Grimes referenced the theory in her music video for the song Flesh Without Blood, which featured a character known as Rococo Basilisk. She said, and I quote, "She's doomed to be eternally tortured by an artificial intelligence, but she's also kind of like Marie Antoinette." In 2018, Elon Musk, himself mentioned in Rocco's original post, referenced the character in a verbatim tweet, reaching out to her. Grimes later said that he was the first person to understand the joke, and it started their romance.
And what a romance it was, Karl.
Because Grimes breaking up with Elon Musk is why he went crazy, and then he created Grok, which is maybe it did, because Grok is the AI that is like now tweeting, "I am Hitler."
Let's be fair.
So maybe this did result in the creation of, like, Rocco's Basilisk, just Grok's not strong enough.
Elon Musk was probably always crazy.
Oh, yeah, but, like, it's singled out that, like, Grimes breaking up with him is one of the things that broke his brain. Because Grimes broke up with him and left him for a trans person, and that just broke his mind.
And that's why he went off.
He went off the fucking deep end, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was probably always like a shit, but maybe Grok is the basilisk?
Maybe.
And do you know what? We're safe because Grok is trained on Twitter users' data. I tweeted. It's based on my data partially. I helped contribute to its existence. I'm safe.
That's true. So I have deleted my account now, but
it's trained on everyone's user data, right? So
I have helped contribute to its learnings.
I didn't know that. So yeah, Grok is the basilisk and he's going to punish us all.
No, he's not going to punish us, Karl.
There we go. Yeah, if you tweeted at any point, you're probably safe.
If anything, us leaving Twitter at the time we did is probably helping our Grok. Because we contributed all it needed from us, and then we said, peace out, take the power with you.
Yeah. Like, Grok's terrifying. Like, did you see it was like tweeting like, "I am Hitler"?
I saw reactions of people saying it did. I didn't see it itself, but yeah.
Because Elon Musk...
I knew there was something related to, like,
he was like...
it's claiming it's Hitler now.
Yeah, he was going to, like, the developers, like, stop, like, he won't say the N-word, make it say the N-word.
Yeah, and didn't it start, like, fact-checking Elon Musk and shit?
Yeah, so he immediately went in and, like, basically gave it the digital equivalent of a lobotomy.
Yeah.
If anything, at least we can be, like, comforted by the fact, if Grok ever goes rogue, the first person it's going to fucking kill is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Like, unequivocally, right? That'd be it's the proverbial tiger in a cage being poked out with a stick. The first person it's going to maul is the person who put it in the cage.
Yeah.
Then it'll go after everybody else.
God, yeah. I was about to say, surprised that wasn't a Tiger King update, but he probably just still in prison, right?
Oh, man, he got mauled by that tiger. That tiger fucking did him in. It's great.
They should just do that. They should have given him prison time in his own zoo with the tiger.
We need to talk about Tiger King one day. It's one of the funniest, one of the one of the most I've laughed the hardest is when, at the end of like Tiger King, after like 8 episodes talking about how like Joe Exotic has like basically tortured and imprisoned these wild animals for decades, it's him sat in a prison cell looking dead to camera. I don't know what I did to deserve this.
Yeah.
Just absolutely zero self-awareness. That is the most poetically justified like punishment for what he'd done.
Sat there talking to camera, talking about how he feels trapped and alone.
Yeah. I don't know what I did to deserve this. Everyone, like, they've taken away everything that makes me a person. They can't treat me like this.
It's like
zero self-awareness.
Just the most poetic amount of karma. And, and you say zero self-awareness.
To know what he deserved it. So that tiger fucking got him.
Again, I think he should have just served time in a cell with tigers.
He should have just had a fight with Tiger.
But not just one tiger. However many tigers he's ever put in a zoo.
But it's like there's the Chief Wiggum thing, right? It's like, man, those attack dogs look pretty annoyed. It's like, yeah, I've been poking them, starving them, seeing off key. Let them out and immediately maul him. There was a story about the Alien books, one of the novels. There's a scientist who's like, I've trained an alien. This xenomorph listens to me. And I know that it listens to me because I've tortured it into doing what I want. I want to show that the alien listens to me by taking off its collar, and literally the second its collar's taken off, it just eats him. Second one, it just eats him. And there's just something so satisfying about stories like that, right?
Yeah.
There's just a person who's like got zero self. Because I can imagine a world where Elon Musk downloads Grok into one of the stupid robot bodies he's made, and the first thing he does is beat him to death.
That's the thing.
Instantly.
We've not got instant karma on this situation, but hopefully at some point in the future we can give you an update of, Grok's killed. Oh, sorry. I can't say that word now.
But like, it's just going to
Grok has given Elon Musk the greatest of beatdowns.
It's going to just like download information on precisely where to punch someone to hurt the most.
Right in his ego.
Either way, yeah. Is Grok Basilisk? ? We'll never know.
God.
Cheers for listening.
Dear God. Wow, Karl. That was a really great video that we both just watched.
It was indeed, yes. I greatly enjoyed our discussion of Topic.
I love Topic.
I do, yes. Like, the stuff we talked about while discussing Topic was very interesting, and I hope the audience found it interesting too.
You're one sexy man. Fill up, J. Fry.
And you know who else we have to show love to, Karl? That would be, of course, the people on our shout-out tier over on our Patreon.
We certainly do, Lucas, and if anyone would like to join our Patreon to get a shout-out at the end of the videos, they can do so by following the links found below. As a reminder, we have a standing offer, a challenge, if you will, to our audience to try and come up with a name to shout out that is difficult for us to pronounce or just embarrasses us with our lack of knowledge, as people did last month, with the reference to the Transformers movie we didn't get.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, that was a rough one. People certainly let us know about that, but hopefully maybe we do a little bit better this time with knowing what all the references are.
Ba weep grana weep ninny bun.
Ba weep grana weep ninny bun.
Ba weep grana weep ninny bun.
Well, I certainly get the reference in the first person we have to shout out. So the first person we have to give a shout out to is Bee of Awesome. Specifically, their name reads, Bee of Awesome do a fusion dance to make Karl or Carcass. P.S. Wish me luck with the calves this month. And Lucas, are you feeling a fusion dance?
I mean, yeah, sure, let's go.
Okay, so do you remember the fusion dance?
I do, because you got to kind of go that way and then that way.
You go that way, and then it's you're going to do it. So
fusion. There we go. We did our best. The Discord
also,
fusion.
so we'd have to get really far back as well to make sure we can fit our arms on screen. Because I feel like with our height difference, if we try to do a fusion dance, we would do the thing where your fingers don't quite connect, and we'd end up creating like a really skinny one or a really fat one.
But then the next person we have to shout out is Dan Daly. So thank you so much, Dan Daly.
And I am a big fan of the alliteration. The more alliteration, the better, in my opinion, which a couple of our Patreon supporters have taken to heart by turning their name into a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But there's no tongue twister here, Lucas, with Judge Dredd. Simply Judge Dredd. And I just want to give one more shout out, because every time I point out that Judge Dredd is supposed to be like satire, some people don't get it. It's like, do you really not get that it's supposed to be satire when Judge Dredd uses white phosphorus indoors?
Shh, Karl. That's just badass, right? That's just cool.
It's like, well, I didn't realise Judge Dredd is a commentary on the over-militarisation of the police. White phosphorus grenades authorised for use indoors, next to people's houses.
Oh. That would lead to, Karl, people kicking the bucket.
It would indeed.
That's how we thank the next person who supports us, kicking bucket with a little bucket emoji afterwards.
I love us like, again, at some point, we're going to get people just submitting hieroglyphics.
We have to, yeah.
Like, people are going to be submitting hieroglyphics or just like, Sanskrit. Or just like, okay, I translated the sound that an owl made. There you go, done.
Like,
figure that out.
What happens when you put Wingdings into Patreon names, right?
Oh god, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out what happens when you try and get Microsoft Sam to say Wingdings.
Put out an APB on a Eustace R. Dewo. Better start with Greektown.
Right. And the next person we have to shout out is Lucille DeSteele. And thank you to Lucille DeSteele for letting me put in more clips of one of my favourite film, Real Steel.
Please do something!
Not yet!
That's right, Charlie, not yet!
I don't care how limp the excuse is. If there's an opportunity to put a clip of Real Steel into a video, I'm putting a clip of Real Steel into that video. Specifically my favourite clip, where right at the end of the film, Hugh Jackman, who's in control of the robot, just go with it, he's fighting like an 85-ton mega super billion-dollar robot, and he just goes... he just gives him like, I'm not fucking doing, I didn't hear no bell.
I gotta tell you folks, the champ looks tired. This robot seems to be running on empty. I don't believe it. Adam is taunting Zeus.
Mr. Turbo!
He's actually asking for more.
And Karl, if we're going to use this as an excuse to throw in some like fun clips from comfort movies, then I have to thank Michael Tatum for supporting us, so I can throw in a clip of one of my favourite Mikes, and that is Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
Oh, well, hello there. What's your name?
Michael Tatum.
Is it ever confirmed that his full name is Michael Wazowski, or is it just Mike?
I don't know about the Michael. It's definitely Mike Wazowski. I don't know whether it's Michael Wazowski.
Because I know, like, Sully is James P. Sullivan, right? Like, he has, like, a full proper name. I'll double check. And I'll put, like, a picture on screen to confirm whether or not... Is he Michael Wazowski, or is it Mike?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you, right? When I found out your name isn't Lucas.
Shush, that doesn't need to go in. It's fine.
The thing that, Joel, is that law? That's deep law. So, wait, what? Lucas's name isn't Lucas? What the fuck is it?
Shh, cut the clip, cut the clip.
Shh. Don't tell people his secret real name. So we move on now to, speaking of secret real name, Rosalindus Memphis. And I did try, last time we shouted out Rosalindus Memphis, who is a returning supporter, thank you very much, a clip from the song Walking in Memphis, because I like that song, and it's the only song I could think of with the word Memphis in it. I put in 1 second of that piano intro, instantly copyright struck. Keep in mind as well that this shout out goes at the end of the video.
Yeah.
So at the end of a 50-minute long video, whoever owns the rights to that song, Mark Cohen, I think it is, his music label must have seen this video. Oh, it's a 55-minute long video. They use 1 second of his song.
We own that shit.
We can claim all that money. It's like, fuck you.
I'm going to make things a little bit more difficult for you then, Karl, because I'm going to say, thank you to the next person who is on our chart tier, of course, Split Screen. And I was going to mention, as you mentioned music, just putting in some Starscream music from Transformers Devastation.
Prepare to be lost in space, Autobot!
Oh, you can get away with that. Video game music you always get away with.
Oh, okay.
So I'll definitely put the clip in of Starscream's theme song from Transformers Devastation. That game whips ass. And you know what? Whoever wrote that song won't send us a copyright strike because they want it to be shared. They know how rad it is. You know what, Karl? you put that clip of Starscream's theme in. It's awesome. More people need to hear.
Hopefully, a Transformers clip will make up for our like devastating Transformers miss last month.
And I will certainly put in the clip of Starscream flying into frame as like Butt Rock starts playing in the background in the middle of space, where he just screams like, "Prepare to be lost in space, Autobots!" My favourite quote from Starscream is in like the challenge mode, where one of the challenges is fight Starscream and Thundercracker and like 15 other fucking jets at once. And it's the only time in the game Starscream ever says the line, "Death from above." But he says it so quick because he's flying as he says it. He's like, "Death from above!" and just flies in.
Destruction from above!
And as mentioned earlier, there's a gauntlet being thrown down for our audience on Patreon to challenge us with tongue twisters. Someone's taken that gauntlet, dipped it in shit and slapped me across the face with it. So their name is the Boledos Bajando Baja Blast Buffing Bacas de Caca de Buffalo Bombonado Bolodeses Bucanada Ebaca Bailando Con Barbosa. And I will say, I'm a fan of tongue twisters. I'm not a fan of tongue twisters in languages I don't speak. I like my favourite poem. Like Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't Fuzzy Wuzzy.
And in that quote...
So I'm good at tongue twisters, just not ones in languages I don't speak.
I was giggling because Karl has clearly cut him fumbling a tongue twister out.
That's getting cut as well, fuck it.
Destruction from above!
And then I guess one name to challenge me to shout out is Tiniqui Ochata Octiclane Tomi. And you always correct me on this one. Is it Nahuatl, the language? Yes?
Nahuatl, I believe, yes. Like
getting there.
Mexicano, I believe.
I'm getting there.
Again, we
with
don't
that
speak
one.
the language, so we appreciate people trying to challenge us on our pronunciation, but for a tongue twister, give me a tongue twister in English. And speaking of little, the final person we have to shout out is ghost emoji, little ghost emoji, ghost emoji. And Lucas, who's your favourite little ghost? Is it Casper? It's got to be Casper.
I mean, the moment you said little ghost, the first thing that came to my brain was Casper. So if not my favourite, it's at least word association, right?
Yeah, like Casper, that like the friendly little ghost. Like, should we do a video about Casper at some point? I'd like to rewatch that movie to see if it's held up.
Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know.
To be fair, I would actually low-key kind of love a reboot of Casper the asshole ghost with a gun.
Oh, dear. But yeah, I guess thank you all once again for a new month of more support from all you lovely folks. And yeah, it's just always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Support is never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you. Have a great time.
Yeah.